For over 50 years, these railroad tracks, first the Norfolk Western, now the Norfolk Southern, have been transporting goods from the southeast part of the country to other parts of the nation. You can almost feel the history associated with these tracks. At the same time, there's a piece of real estate about 25 feet from these railroad tracks that also represents another part of Americana. First built as a dirt track in 1947, now it's one of the finest pavement tracks in the country. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
For nearly 4 decades, the fans have enjoyed coming to this picturesque facility in Martinsville, Virginia. From its manicured grass to its brightly painted curbs, promoter H. Clairol's has strived to build one of America's premier short-track showplaces. But don't let looks fool you. With just 12 degrees of banking and a combination of concrete and asphalt in the turns, this track is one of the toughest. It takes a very special man to conquer this place. One man has done that 15 times.
Well, Jerry, of course, you were talking about the king. 54-year-old Richard Petty won his first race on pavement right here at Martinsville in 1960. His 15th win here coming in 1979. But the guy's been tearing it up. He's 3 years younger than Richard, and he's standing by with a couple of younger drivers.
Here's a fella everyone's talking about. 3 Winston Cup victories in a row, Harry Gant. Hey, Harry, I got my uniform. Can I drive?
If the seatbelt will reach around you.
What do you mean the seatbelt reach? I used to drive this car, you know.
You know, I think you've eaten too many tomato sandwiches since then.
Well, what about Ned?
Hey, wait a minute, fellas. I can get in my uniform here. I'd like to get in this thing here. I'm still in my 50s, and I believe I could drive this thing.
Okay. I'll watch it today.
I tell you, I think it'd be fun. Wait a look.
Pardon me, fellas. Harry, I understand this here's a fountain of youth. I wonder if I could take a couple out for you.
Hey, I was your first. Get out of here. I was your first. Get out of here.
ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, it's the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race. And you couldn't ask for more beautiful weather. Cool temperatures, bright sunny skies, and no chance of rain. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and welcome to Martinsville, the 24th race of the Winston Cup season for 1991. We have the third tightest points battle in NASCAR history going on. The quest for the Cup standings show you that Ricky Rudd is only 36 behind Dale Earnhardt. Some bad luck by Ernie Irvan, Davey Allison, and Mark Martin have caused them to fall in the point standings. When you talk about luck, though, there's one guy that's stealing the thunder from the points race. For more on that, here's Ned and Benny.
Harry Gant is definitely the talk of Winston Cup racing. He has won 3 straight. But while Harry's been winning 3 straight, the points battle, some fellas have just went away. Mark Martin has fallen out of the last 3 races. He's now 335 points behind. You got to cross him off. Davey Allison, trouble in 2 out of the 3. He's now 205 points behind. It's an uphill struggle. And Ernie Irvan crashed last week. He's 177 behind. I don't think Irvin's got a chance. Ned, I think it's down to a 2-car race for the championship.
Well, I think you're right, Benny. But, you know, Ricky Rudd needs to win here or at North Wilkes-Barre next week if he has a chance. You know why?
Why?
A Winston Cup champion has not won the championship in the modern era without winning on a short track. And Dale Earnhardt is the only one of those in the top 4 that's won on a short track this year. I think it's going to, you know, play a factor here. You know, Benny, it feels good to get in these uniforms again, don't it?
Hey, Ned, you look pretty good.
Might I say you both look marvelous as we get set for racing here at Martinsville. Let's take a look now at the die-hard starting lineup for today's race. The pole position belongs to Mark Martin, his 3rd in a row here at Martinsville in the Folgers Ford at 93.171, alongside his Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick car number 26. In the 2nd row, it's Darrell Waltrip in the Western Auto Chevrolet car number 17, and alongside, 2nd in points, 2-time winner here at Martinsville, Ricky Rudd from Chesapeake, Virginia in the Tide Chevrolet number 5. Then Dale Earnhardt, the points leader in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, and Alan Kulwicki in the Hooters Ford car number 7. Going to row number 4, it is Rusty Wallace from St. Louis, Missouri, in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac car number 2, and Kyle Petty in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac car number 42. In the 5th row, you'll find Ken Schrader in the number 25 Kodiak Chevrolet, and Morgan Shepherd in the Motorcraft Ford car number 15. The 6th row consists of Bobby Hamilton, one of the rookie candidates in the Country Time Oldsmobile car number 68, and then Harry Gant in the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile car number 33, as Harry goes for his 4th consecutive Winston Cup win. Let's take a look at the rest of the starting lineup here, and you can see that some of the top competitors are in the middle to lower portions of the starting grid. 32 cars in all. We'll take the green flag in just a moment and begin 500 laps of competition.
And Bob, all of those from 17th on back will be pitting on the backstretch today. There are some good drivers over there that maybe have cars capable of winning this race today, but pitting on the backstretch will be a disadvantage for them. Davey Allison we see back there.
Davey Allison, of course, comes into this event as the 4th in the Winston Cup points, 205 behind the leader Dale Earnhardt. There's Richard Petty, who begins in row number 15, and Ted Musgrave, and Sterling Marlin, who both took provisionals to get into the starting lineup. In-car cameras today, we have 3 of them working for you as we head down the front stretch and go into turn number 1 on our warm-up lap. There is the roof cam that will be on Dale Jarrett's Citgo Ford for today's event. Jeff Bodine will also carry the in-car camera. He has won twice in a row here, sweeping both events at Martinsville last year, and he is the defending champion of this event. Now, the Martinsville Speedway is just a little over a half mile in length. The pole speed was 93.171 at a time of 20.324 seconds. We'll go 500 laps, and the field is separated by just a little more than 1/2 second. The pits are on both the front stretch and the back stretch here at Martinsville. And as Ned told you, the first 16 will be on the front stretch and the rest of the field on the back stretch. In turns number 1 and 2, the banking is at 12 degrees, not much of a bank. And in turns 3 and 4 also, the turns are banked at 12 degrees, and the banking on the straightaway, well, there is none. They're being led down the pit area on the backstretch, and the speed limit is 35 miles an hour this afternoon.
That's the back pits that Ned was talking about just a moment ago. 16 cars parking back there. What's the matter with Kowicki?
I think he maybe just stopped to get his steering wheel straight.
They can take the steering wheel off. They can take the steering wheel off and can slide the wheel off, put it back on where they want it. And most of these drivers want the spokes lined up so they know where the wheel is straight ahead.
I think he might have also been confused by the fact that the field went down through the pit area in the backstretch. He wasn't in a position to do that.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the field to catch up.
That's right.
What he's doing there on the backstretch.
So Alan Kowicki gets lined up beside Dale Earnhardt.
He's one of those drivers pitting on the front stretch, so he says there's no point in me going down the pit road on the back stretch. I'll just catch him when they come by.
But the speed limit is the same on both the front stretch and the back stretch, 35 miles an hour. We have a tremendous crowd on hand here today, and as I said, you just could not ask for finer weather. It is cool outside, the sun is shining brightly, and we are set for 500 laps of competition. Here comes the field off of turn number 4, and the green flag is up.
Jeff Bodine's car. And on top of Dale Jarrett's automobile.
Dale stayed on that outside groove for a couple of laps, picked up about 4 or 5 positions by doing that, but now he has chosen to get down on the inside, which is usually the preferred groove here at Martinsville. Rick Mass there in the Skoal Classic Oldsmobile.
We see something on the front of the camera, like some fluid out of someone's car. Maybe someone overheated, throwing a little bit of water out.
Wonder if it could be condensations, fellas. It's a relatively cool day here, and I don't know, maybe a difference in the air temperature up there and inside the thing.
That's the battle for 7th position there between Dale Earnhardt and Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd to the outside in car 15, and Earnhardt is on the inside in car 3 as Rusty Wallace watches from behind.
I tell you, yesterday in practice here, Morgan Shepherd had one of the fastest cars on the track. He and Brett Bodine were the class of the field in practice, but he's on the outside there now. Not sure that's going to be a place that'll work for him for very long.
Martin is the leader of the race.
And Ricky Rudd just trying to get by Brett Bodine. We see him. There he is coming off. That's their 2nd spot. If Rudd can get in front of Bodine, it looks like to me he has position going in the corner. But look at Brett Bodine drive that car in on the outside.
They come down the straightaway side by side at the line. Bodine with just a fender advantage. Brett was surprised himself at the qualifying run that he turned into. I was talking to him just before he went out to qualify, and he wasn't all that optimistic, but he sat on the pole for a while before being knocked off by Mark Martin. And Brett Bodine is hanging in there in a battle for second position at the moment with Ricky Rudd.
It's pretty impressive that he can stay out there on the outside of a good car. If it was a car that he was lapping, it'd be a little different, but racing for position, that's very impressive.
That is very, and Ricky Rudd needs to get by, get up and pass Mark Martin, try to get 5 bonus points, because we see Earnhardt back there. He's 5 or 6 positions behind Rudd.
He is in 7th position. Now he pulls alongside of Darrell Waltrip.
Rudd finally takes that spot away from Brett Bodine.
2 abreast racing down the backstretch.
Earnhardt's trying the hard way. Started to go on the outside of Darrell Waltrip. Was on the outside a couple of laps ago. Now he's in line behind Darrell.
Well, Rusty Wallace was about to pass him on the inside when he was on the outside. He figured that's not a smart place to be. Here's Morgan Shepherd about to get caught on the outside again by Ernie Irvin.
That's the battle for 9th position, Irvin and Morgan Shepherd. So Shepherd has found here that on the outside is not the place to be, because remember he was battling for 7th just a few laps ago and now is trying to stay in 9th position. Here is Waltrip and Earnhardt, and on the outside, Kyle Petty.
Now, Kyle was up there in 5th place a few laps ago, but he has got caught on that outside, and he'll find out that that's sending towards the back, too.
Kyle, of course, involved in an accident last week at Dover, and there was some concern about his not being able to drive here this weekend. He's hobbling around on a cane, but nevertheless is in the car and racing this afternoon.
Had some fluid drained off his knee several times this week, but I talked to him just before the race started, and he felt pretty good about it.
Jerry Punch has more on Kyle Petty.
As you said, guys, Kyle Petty had his knee drained 3 times this week. 3 different times they went in and drew some fluid and blood out of the joint of his left knee. Now, he still has some reaccumulation in the knee. That's why he cannot bend the knee completely. But then again, he don't have to bend it at all. He needs to be able to reach the brake pedal every now and then. And hey, I don't have to worry about using up my brakes in Martinsville. I can't get to it anyway.
That's one way to do it. Now we have a battle for the lead as Ricky Rudd has gone to the inside of Mark Martin, and here comes Brett Bodine to take 2nd place away. So it's Rudd the leader. Brett Bodine goes to 2nd, Martin back to 3rd, and now Alan Kowicki is knocking on Mark Martin's back bumper.
And Ricky Rudd, as he goes across the start-finish line, picks up those 5 bonus points that Benny Parsons was talking about. Very important.
That reduces the advantage to 31 points now that separate 1st and 2nd in the Winston Cup battle.
And Brett Bodine's car is flying. Look as he tries to get under Rudd coming off the corner. I think he has it.
Boy, that car got a good bite coming off of turn 4, and into the lead he goes. Normally, it's not that easy to pass here at Martinsville.
Hasn't won since North Wilkesboro. But Brett Bodine right now is in front of the Goody's 500 here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and we're delighted you could join us for an afternoon of racing here on ESPN. Our Speed World coverage of the Goody's 500 is being brought to you by today's Chevrolet, who invite you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. By Goody's, the South's #1 headache powder. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. 17 laps out of 500 completing at Martinsville. Brett Bodine leads the Goody's 500. Chevy contest? I don't think I have the... Nothing, just kidding. Yes. Yes, I know. Well, you're not going to get it today. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Scott Kyle might have a flat tire.
He's got some problems with some car. But he said that it was loose going in and pushing coming off. That's what he told me down there this morning. Just couldn't get it right. Is coming on.
Today, ESPN is presenting the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. You'll have a chance to win a 1991 Chevy Lumina of your choice, the 2-door coupe, the 4-door sedan, the APV, or the fabulous new Z34. Now, to enter the contest, call 1-900-933-9300 before the halfway lap. You'll be asked your phone number and the number of the Chevy car competing in the race, which you think will be the first Chevy to finish. The winner will be selected in a random drawing of correct entries and announced in our next Chevy Sweepstakes. Call in right now to win 1-900-933-9300. The leader is Brett Bodine. Right on his heels is Alan Kowicki. Running third is Dale Earnhardt. Fourth is Rusty Wallace. And fifth is Ricky Rudd.
Here goes Kowicki.
Yep. And Kowicki drives around Brett Bodine to become our third leader in the first 26 laps of this race.
And all the Ford fans stand up and cheer, but you know, Ford fans don't have a lot to cheer about this racetrack. What is it, 3 races they've won here, Neil?
In the modern era, yeah, that's since, I think they count 71 or 72. In about 20 years, they've only won 3 times. Jeff Bodine got 2 of those last year.
See, Rusty Wallace has worked his way up to third. There's Earnhardt fourth, and Ricky Rudd is fifth.
And struggling is Kyle Petty. He has fallen way back to almost the end of the field. Jerry, what's the problem?
Well, Kyle had qualified 8th, Bob, and he's now running about 27 to 28 in the field. He radioed on the pit road at crew chief Gary Nelson, said, I think I've got a tire going down. The car has suddenly gotten very, very loose. They would like to see a caution flag. He's not sure how much longer he can hang on to the car if a tire is going down without possibly losing it out there. But a tough break early on for Kyle Petty.
Well, he's 29th right now and about to go to 30th as there's the king, Richard Petty, moving to the inside. And now Lake Speed, carrying our Phillips 66 in-car camera, also passes Kyle Petty. And Kyle falls way back to 31st out of 32 cars that are on the racetrack. Only Ted Musgrave is behind Kyle Petty now. Here's the side cam on Lake Speed's car.
He tried to drive inside. Richard Petty going in turn 3, not able to make it.
Well, that side cam has given us some great shots in the past years on this tight half-mile racetrack here at Martinsville. Now Lake Speed goes inside and passes Petty. And a little bumping it looks like going on already. That's the in-car camera being carried by Dale Jarrett. Alongside is Michael Waltrip at number 2. Little bumping there.
Davey Allison almost got in the side of Jeff Bodine.
Right in the middle of all this, they're battling for 16th position. Jimmy Spencer there in 98, bumping Jeff Bodine. Davey Allison will now make it 3 wide going into 1.
No, they can't do that.
I guarantee you they can't do that, not this racetrack.
Not make it. And they knew that right off the bat, so they backed off. So Michael Waltrip lost about 4 positions. Now Chad Little coming on the inside of him.
There's Davey Allison to the left. To the right, I should say.
He makes some contact with Spencer. Davey gets to the left rear quarter of Spencer. but he backs off and lets Spencer go back in front of him. He realized that his Spencer got him out of shape. He decided not to take the spot away.
Meanwhile, it's a battle between the Winston Cup point leaders up front. Ricky Rudd has the lead, but Dale Earnhardt has now moved to second and is beginning to challenge Ricky Rudd.
Up there's the leader to 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's battle for 4th, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Kowicki is leading. Brett Bodine is second. Rusty is third, and the battle for 4th between Rudd and Earnhardt.
But you're right, this is the leaders of the Winston Cup 1 standings. The black 3, Earnhardt, is the leader, 36 points over the orange number 5, Rudd. Now Rudd is 31 points behind because he did lead a lap. Received 5 bonus points for leading that, and that could be important. And Earnhardt's fading because there goes Darrell on the inside. Takes a spot away.
Waltrip was always one to watch on this racetrack. I guess in the modern era of racing, we were talking about that, but Waltrip has more victories than anyone else here, although Ricky Petty has more overall than anyone.
Petty won 15 times between 1960 and 1979.
We saw Earnhardt's car go in the corner and go up the racetrack higher than most other cars have been going, and that's not good at this racetrack. You need to stay right on that yellow curve on the inside.
There is the battle for second position. It's Brett Bodine in car number 26 and Rusty Wallace, who goes inside of Brett now and makes a bid to take over second spot. Rusty does. Rusty Wallace, a winner here at Martinsville, winning this race back in 1986. Rusty has a bit of racetrack, however, between himself and the leader, and there he is, Alan Kowicki, as he laps Kyle Petty. So Kyle is the first to go a lap down. 40 laps completed. We've been all green so far here at Martinsville. The leader of the race is Alan Kowicki, and we'll be right back.
I mentioned to Neil on the talkback, Davey Allison is absolutely flying.
He is, isn't he?
Well, I can hear myself fine. You cannot hear me on the whenever I try and talk to you, Chevy.
Thank you.
Hello. What's
Somebody is covering you, Neil. Somebody's covering you, yelling for Bobby Smize. Okay.
It's the only thing I can figure.
Okay. With the first yellow flying here at Martinsville on lap number 45 because of debris on the racetrack, we have a lot of pit activity. Here's Jerry Punch.
Alan Kowicki and almost everyone else on pit road changing 4 tires. Rusty Wallace in at the other end of pit road down toward turn 1. So everyone taking advantage of this first caution flag of the day to change right and left side tires. Brett Bodine is out. Darrell Waltrip is out. Morgan Shepherd. They all have had service and are headed back to turn 1.
Tires scattered there at the end of pit road, as you can see, and John Kernan is in the back pits. John?
Jimmy Hensley in the Team 3 Pontiac is already in. Also, Michael Waltrip is in. Michael looks like he's had some contact. The fender on the right front has been up just a little bit, and they're working underneath the, I'm not quite sure what the problem is. Jimmy Hensley is away, still working. working underneath the fender, but they get the tire on. They will not do a 4-tire change because it's taking so long there in the pits to try and get the problem fixed under that right front. We'll try and find out exactly what it was. Get back to you in a couple of minutes, Bob.
Michael finally pulling out of the pits along with Joe Ruttman as the yellow flies here at Martinsville for the first time, and Kyle Petty comes in for a second time trying to correct his problem. The yellow out because of debris on the racetrack, reducing the speed of the Goody's 500. Back after this.
Boy, that can be a killer.
It's like
maybe we can use that telestrator if we have it from a high camera.
He's about the middle of the from the start finish line down towards turn 1.
He's a fourth pit. Fourth pit. Turn 1.
Turn 1.
Around the world, around the year, with award-winning motorsports coverage, ESPN Speed World today at Martinsville, Virginia, for the Goody's 500, and we are under caution for the first time. Darrell Waltrip has been black flagged because of a pit violation. You can see he's on pit road at the moment, and the NASCAR officials are holding him there.
Boy, this could be a killer. Have to start at the back of the pack on this.
But are they holding him just to 15 seconds, or are they going to hold him a lap?
Well, it appears as if they're going to hold him for a full lap. Jerry, what's the story?
Well, the NASCAR officials have told Jeff Hamlin, you see him talking right now, that apparently when Darrell pitted a moment ago, they say he was over the line, and therefore they black flagged him. They brought him back down pit road, and they are holding him 1 lap. He will now be held a lap as the field goes by in the background, and the Western Auto Chevrolet will start the Goody's 500 1 lap down.
Waltrip finally going out of the pits after being penalized a lap for going over the line. Now we have the luxury of having a telestrator on our telecast today, and Pablo Picasso Parsons will take pen in hand and show you what happened.
Well, there's Waltrip's car. That's the 4th car back. And we see the yellow line here in front of Dale Earnhardt's car. Evidently, Darrell's car was across that yellow line. That's against the rules as far as NASCAR is concerned.
That's the reason why Darrell was brought in. Jeff Hammond continues the discussion of the situation with the NASCAR officials. But in any case, we are back to green and racing on lap number 50 here at Martinsville.
Boy, that was a costly mistake for Darrell Waltrip.
Chad Little has the lead of the race at the moment. Let's go to John Kernan and find out more about Michael Waltrip's problem.
Bob Michael's been back in to get left side tires. They put a rubber in the right front spring. The car was very loose. I'd seen the damage and thought that they might have had something rubbing up against the tire, and they were trying to fix that. I talked to Bill Engel. He says, no, the car was just very loose, and they put a rubber in the right front. So look for Michael possibly to make some moves.
Chad Little is the leader of the race. That's because he chose not to make a pit stop. He was the only one that did not come in for service during that caution period. Brett Bodine is second. Then comes Alan Kowicki, Rusty Wallace, and Morgan Shepherd.
That's not bad strategy on the part of Chad Little. He was pitting on the backstretch. He was going to be way back in the pack when he came out of the pits. So getting to lead some race, get some television time, not a bad strategy.
I'm impressed by Brett Bodine's pit stop because there's been a lot of shakeup over at the Kenny Bernstein team. I thought the pit stops would be bad today for that 26 car, but here he is now taking the lead. Down in turn 3, here comes Kowicki, Rusty Wallace. So Brett Bodine's crew beat all those cars off pit road.
For the second time today, Brett Bodine has the lead of the race. Now Alan Kowicki working for second place with Chad Little. Chad, of course, another one of those involved in that major crash last weekend at Dover. Didn't injure anybody seriously, but boy, it sure tore up a lot of sheet metal. Here comes Rusty Wallace now alongside of Chad Little. Rusty will take third place.
will go by, too. They won't give him much of an opening. He'll have to root him there and find him somewhere.
And now to the inside of Chad Little is Darrell Waltrip and Kyle Petty. Both of those cars, the only cars that ever lapped down. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who is with Jeff Hammond.
Jeff, explain to us what happened a minute ago with the penalty. Why?
Well, they told me after the fact that we were over the line, and according to NASCAR, they're supposed to have an official to tell you if you're over the line or not. If you are, you got a chance to back up. From my vantage point on the jack, I couldn't tell we were over the line, so we went ahead and serviced the car. Then they come back after the fact and tell me I'm over the line and penalize me a lap, which I don't understand. Martinsville's got the smallest pit road in the world, and they tell us before, use a little bit of common sense. I mean, I don't know what else you can do in this thing. They try and penalize me a lap. They don't even want to talk about it.
Obviously, Jeff Hammond's still pretty upset about the penalty.
Well, Darrell will work now toward getting his lap back. He is fourth in line behind Bodine and Kowicki and Rusty Wallace.
And Bob, I expect his car is faster than we have seen it. He's usually a fairly conservative driver in the first half of a race like this, but now he has to punish that car to try to get up there and get back in the lead lap.
That's a good point. He may have a car that he could have won the race with today, but he may use that car up trying to get that lap back.
Very good point. We'll show you the field summary here as we've completed 58 laps. Try to keep you as up to date as possible here this afternoon so you can tell where your favorite driver is running. You can see that Earnhardt is in 6th position. Bill Elliott back in 11th. Jimmy Hensley's driving the number 2014 3 car here this afternoon. Davey Allison was so quick before we had that caution period as he has moved up to 17th position.
And Davey Allison is one of those cars pitting on the back stretch, so the best he could come out of the pits would be 17th, so he hasn't made too many moves since the green flag. There's a race for second place. Rusty Wallace looked awfully strong. You know, here in the spring, that number 2 Miller Junior Draft car was really fast. Remember, he made the pit stop, and here's some trouble.
Off of turn 4, Chad Little has spun Bill Elliott down on the inside as well. Elliott will try to get his car right and hit it back, or both of them will, to stay in the lead lap. Elliott does get his going. Chad Little with some damage to the left front of his car gets going. They'll both stay in the lead lap.
Like
and Waltrip trying to get his lap back, and he does.
Oh, just barely. Oh,
smart move by Darrell Waltrip. Some heads-up driving, plus, Benny, as you pointed out many times, that spotter told him what to do, where the trouble was, and told him to get on it.
And told him if those cars hadn't moved out of the way to go ahead, and he'd beat the leader back by half a car length. You're right, Ned. Good move by Darrell.
And now Jeff Hammond has to be a little bit happy over this situation. Let's watch it again.
You see all the debris laid on the racetrack. Darrell trying not to run through it.
Here's the tail end of the crash. That's Chad up toward the outside and Bill Elliott spinning to the inside of the track.
There was some damage to the right and rear of Bill Elliott's car.
You can see they bumped together as they came off of the turn.
Ken Schrader just barely getting through.
Bunch of cars just barely getting through.
Kernan has more on the situation. John?
Well, Bob, let me ask you a quick question. Debris on the track caused that last caution, right? A pulley or something?
Yes, that's
okay.
Correct.
Well, Chad Little radioed in after running. He said the car's getting tight. He may have lost the pulley off of his rear end cooler, and that pulley may have caused the caution. And Chad is getting ready to come in and pit right now. They will check this out to see if that indeed was the pulley that came from Chad's car.
And now we'll watch Darrell Waltrip get his lap back. Watch him stand on the gas coming out of 4.
Boy, he was standing. Look at him on the outside of Kowicki, on the inside of Brett Bodine, and just barely gets him across the start-finish line.
But that makes up a half mile around this racetrack. That few feet he now can make up 1/2 mile. How many feet is that, Bob?
I'll tell you later. John Kernan is there as Chad Little comes in.
Well, as you see with the contact on the front end, they had to pull the front nose off. They've jacked up the car, not changed the tire. Now they can get out to beat the pace car out. They were looking underneath to see if the rear end, if that pulley off the rear end cooler had indeed come off. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Darrell Waltrip brings the Western Auto Chevrolet in. Nothing to lose at all, guys. Remember, he was the last car on the lead lap, and he really abused those tires trying to get up through traffic and make his lap up, and it was worth it. He made the lap up, got the yellow flag, and now he has 2 fresh right side tires.
So watch for Darrell Waltrip now to move up from the rear of the pack, but at least he is on the lead lap. Real-time replay from an in-car Jeff Bodine to the crash.
There we see the 19 car, Chad Little, is running the left of our screen, and Jeff Bodine goes by.
Got through without a problem. Second caution of the day is out here in Martinsville. Crash down at turn number 4. 65 laps have been completed. We'll take another break from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. By the way, the answer to your question is 2,640, and I will tell you that later.
Because this track's a little over a half a mile, so it'd be a little bit more than that.
That's right. Yep.
0.542. I can figure that out with a calculator.
0.526.
Was it 5.2? Who's 5.42?
I don't know.
Somebody.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, really. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. The Goodies 500, 1990, and Mark Martin had captured the pole position for the 24th Winston Cup race of the season. Alan Kulwicki was leading on lap number 125, but then Dale Earnhardt, still second in points, took command. Earnhardt wanted desperately to win this race. He was only 21 behind Martin, seeking his 4th Winston Cup championship. A grinding crash involving teammates Ken Schrader and Ricky Rudd as they battled for the lead on lap 290. Neither was injured. Jeff Bodine was leading 28 laps later when he and Terry Labonte came together in turn number 2. Jeff was able to make a pit stop and stayed on the lead lap. In fact, Bodine came back to take the lead on lap 459 as Earnhardt fell to second. Jeff went on to win this race, sweeping both Martinsville events in 1990. Earnhardt cut the points lead to only 16 as Bodine celebrated his 10th career win and the 12th for car owner Junior Johnson at Martinsville. Jeff Bodine, the defending champion of this race, and we are set to go back to green. The crowd rises to its feet. The green flag flies on lap number 70 with Brett Bodine in front, followed by Alan Kulwicki. Remember Darrell Waltrip. He got his lap back. He's at the tail end of the pack. But if he should win this race, you can credit his smart move there at the drop of the yellow flag, racing back to the start-finish line.
Now Kyle Petty has gotten back in the lead lap, getting ahead of Brett Bodine there. We'll see if he can stay up there. Rusty Wallace and Gordon Shepard race side by side.
The battle for third position. Rusty in number 2, Morgan in 15. By the way, Benny, the answer to your question is 2,777 feet. It would be 2,640 feet for a true half mile, but since it is 0.526 miles in length, the answer to your question is 2,777.
That's good, Bob.
You never cease to amaze me, Jenkins. And look at Kyle Petty. You know, he had the 31st fastest car on this racetrack 20 laps ago. They've stopped, made some changes, and now he is clearly one of the best cars on the racetrack as he is pulled away from Brett Bodine, the leader of the race.
Yep. Another caution, and he's right back in this thing.
Here's Davey Allison continuing to move up through the field as there are 31 of the 32 cars on the lead lap. Right behind him, the number 1 car is Rick Mast. Here's Jeff Bodine's in-car camera. John Cunningham, Davey Allison Allison seems to be running much better now. Can you explain that?
Well, Bob, they had a great pit stop back here on the back pits. And also, I was talking with Larry McReynolds this morning. He said the way the car is set up, it doesn't run well on the first 2, 3, 4 laps. And that's why they started way back, because of qualifying effort. But he said once Davy's able to get some heat in the tires, it sticks, and he should be able to make his way toward the front. Remember, they started 26th in the spring race and was leading it by lap 300.
And he started 25th in today's race and is currently running 11th.
There's a pole sitter to the number 6 car, the red car in front, Martin. The white 25 is Kenny Schrader.
And there is $136,800 in Unical bonus money available to Mark Martin and Mark Martin only as the pole sitter if he should win the race. The bonus $136,800.
Currently running in 9th place. Kenny Schrader is in 10th place.
There's a race for second. The green car in front, that's Brett Bodine at Clayton State Buick. He's leading the race. There's the number 7 Hooters Ford Kawicki second. Rusty Wallace, the Black Deuce, Miller Junior Draft car third. And Rusty, I tell you, that car is quick. He's going to get to the front eventually. He's been beating on those back bumpers all day long.
4th is Morgan Shepherd. 5th is Earnhardt. 6th Gant. Then comes Rudd, Irvin, Martin, Schrader, Allison, Mast, Jeff Bodine, Hut Strickland, Jimmy Hensley, Jimmy Spencer, Bill Elliott, and Sterling Marlin. There's Harry Gant going for 4 wins in a row at 51 years of age.
I'll tell you, he looks like he's in good shape there today. Not only he personally, as far as his physical condition, but that race car looks pretty good. Sitting there running in 6th place, just sort of biding his time. That's what he's done the last 3 races. He didn't charge up there at the front at the beginning of the race. He just sat there and let him beat and bang, and when the time came, he went.
And this is the same race car that he's won those 3 with. They used the same car in Darlington, Richmond, and at Dover last week, and brought the same car here to Martinsville this week.
Harry Gant has won twice on this racetrack. He won this race in 1982 and in 1985. Now Allison working on Schrader.
He's really been working on him. You look to the outside a lap or so ago, and you look to the inside a time or two, but Schrader has that position covered.
Schrader running 10th, and Allison is 11th. Davey will take a look to the inside of Ken. Coming down the backstretch, Allison trying to get the fender in, couldn't do it. And look at this, Harry Gant has passed Dale Earnhardt. He's now 5th. Gant has moved to 5th.
I tell you what, if Harry Gant goes up there and takes the lead, they may tear the grandstands down. I'm not sure we're in good shape because the fans would go crazy.
And here we are sitting on top of the grandstand.
Harry Gant, without question, probably the hottest driver in all of auto racing. Harry Gant, what is it like being the new Harry Gant?
Tough, real tough. A lot of people ask you for interviews, a lot of autographs, everything. A lot of people come by the house. It's hard to get any work done, but I hope we can win some more races over.
Well, he just took over another spot. He passed Morgan Shepherd.
He's wasted no time.
Wasted no time going to the front.
Meanwhile, Kyle Petty has lost a lap. As a matter of fact, Bodine, Kawicki, and Rusty Wallace has all passed Kyle Petty as he begins to slip back. There is the leader of the race, Brett Bodine, Quaker State Buick, closely pursued by Alan Kawicki. Here are the top 5 with 85 laps completed in the Goody's 500 at Martinsville. Back after these messages.
Driver.
Who's been
43.
And the engine stall.
Yep. Yep.
That's some damage that left rear too, Ned.
Oh, okay.
Everybody is.
Well, this was a signal for him to slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever was behind him just didn't see it.
Think Davey got in the back of Schrader?
Yeah, he did. He touched him just a little bit. I think Schrader's flipped a little bit, and David just
Third caution of the race out at Martinsville on lap number 89 because of a two-car spin down in turn number 4. Now, the original car to spin was Ken Schrader. Remember, we were talking about how he was trying to hang on to 10th position. Coming out of turn number 4, that's Schrader spinning and causing everyone to scatter.
Davey
now,
Nelson goes by.
Right behind was Dale Jarrett. We're riding with him.
This is going into turn 3.
And he raises his hand.
But gets hit.
Yep.
Too late, I guess he raised his hand. He saw the wreck ahead of him. Plus his spotter let him know that there was trouble up there, and he slowed down, but the car behind him didn't.
So both Ken Schrader, as you can see, spinning there, and Dale Jarrett involved in little incidents here in turn number 4. Everything is cleaned up, though, and we're set to go back to racing. Dale did not pit in hopes of getting his lap back. The green comes out on lap number 92, and Dale does get the lap back as Jimmy Spencer now is the leader of the race. While we watch the action on the racetrack, Bill Elliott pulls behind the wall. Jerry Punch will check on that and have a report for us in just a moment. Spencer is leading. Darrell Waldrop now is in second position, followed by Bobby Hamilton in late speed. And here is Dale Earnhardt and Ernie Irvan side by side. And now Ernie moves up to do battle with Alan Kulwicki.
Wow, did you see Irvin driving that? Wow, he looks like his car has got sponges on for tires when the rest of these cars have got regular tires. He's sticking like glue.
Meanwhile, up front, Kyle Petty is passing Jimmy Spencer to get back in the lead lap as well.
There again, Brett Bodine.
And Chad Little there with the damage on the front of his car after an earlier incident. Now Jerry Punch can bring us up to date on Bill Elliott's problem.
The Coors Light Ford sitting on jack stands behind the wall. Remember earlier in the race, Bill was involved in a little bit of a shunt up in turn 4 with Chad Little. They started smoking shortly thereafter and were about to pit when the caution came out a minute ago for the Dale Jarrett and Kenny Schrader spin. Now he is behind pit wall. They think they have a leaking transmission sealer. Maybe when he's involved in a little bit of a shunt, the rear seal of the transmission came apart, and now he's leaking some fluid back there. He's losing a lot of valuable time here on the green, guys.
Elliott in the pits while a lot of activity on the racetrack. Ernie Irvan, there is Alan Kulwicki, Dale Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, all involved in a great battle for position as they try to pass Chad Little.
And there's trouble.
Up in turn number 2, Davey Allison is against the wall in turn 2.
He just spun going down in the corner. He spins the car back around. I don't think he's going to lose a lap. But meanwhile, Kyle Petty and Dale Jarrett get a lap back on Jimmy Spencer, the leader. So a break for two cars, Kyle and Dale Jarrett.
Kyle has been trying to get his lap back ever since he lost it and finally does so along with Dale Jarrett. Now let's take a look at the replay. Davey apparently had slowed on the racetrack and may have got some help in his spin around and a bump on the second turn wall.
No, he did not get any help going down in turn 1. That was all on his own. He had some kind of problem off turn 4. I did not see. I looked up and saw the car was going slow when he went down in turn 1. The car just went around. So it all started back in turn 4. I don't know exactly what that was, though. When I looked up, the car was slow. I don't see any flat tires.
Not a whole lot of damage to the car.
No, just a little bit of a ding on the.
Well, he's going to stop
at
the entrance. Now he goes again. What's his situation? He's pitted on the backstretch, which is really. Well, we're going green again in just a moment. Allison remains on the racetrack as the crew told him not to come in for a pit stop because the flag is green once again, and Jimmy Spencer leads him down for the restart.
Well, I think they knew the pace car was coming around. They would probably lose a lap if they came into the pits, and so they told him to stay out there, and he just had to get everything reorganized there in the cockpit.
Spencer in the Banquet Frozen Foods Planters Peanut Chevrolet is at the head of the field, and John Kernan has a story.
Well, Bob, Jimmy didn't exactly have the best of qualifying rounds in first round on Friday, but they went to work on the car and were the fastest second-day qualifier, a little over 92 miles an hour. Talked to him this morning. He told me he's got one of those Harold Elliott special engines in it, the man who used to build the engines for Rusty Wallace when he won the championship. He says that the car felt so good yesterday afternoon in the last practice session that it was scary.
Well, I don't think he's scared right now. I think he's having the time of his life as he leads this race. And again, we show you the field summary every 15 minutes. We're going to show you where your favorite driver is running. All 32 cars, and it's absolutely up to date. Some new technology that we are employing here at ESPN to make sure that you know where your driver is every 15 minutes at least. Spencer has lengthened his lead over Darrell Waltrip, who's running in second spot. Bobby Hamilton and Rusty Wallace and Lake Speed follow in second, third, fourth, and fifth. And then comes Harry Gant in sixth. Rusty Wallace now takes third position from Bobby Hamilton. And we're just a little more than 1/5 of the way through this event. 104 laps have been completed here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia in the Goody's 500. Okay.
That's what it looks like. Those two cars are going real slow down here, so remember the last little instance, so I've kind of watched them down this car. Looks like a little territory.
Back at Martinsville, and as you can see, we are slowed for a caution again. You can try so hard to time your brakes so that we catch all the action, and we're not having a very good batting average so far today, as during that last commercial break, Ricky Rudd spun coming off of turn number 2 and now heads for pit road. bringing out our 5th caution flag of the afternoon. Jerry?
Ricky Rudd brings the Tide Chevrolet down. They will change right side tires, and the crew sort of not really sure what may have happened. There's some marks on the left side of the car. They change right side rubber, only right side. He is down and away.
Rudd pulling back out on the racetrack, and right ahead of him is Kyle Petty, as the field is given the one more lap to go, and Pablo has the pin in hand again.
Well, here we see, there is Ricky Rudd. They're coming off the second corner, and here we see the 7 and the 19. Kowicki in the 7, Chad Little in the 19. I think they get out of shape. Oh, and Ricky on the brakes, and the 24 car, Jimmy Hensley, taps the 5 cars that come off the corner, and around goes Rudd. And I tell you what, he's lucky he didn't hit the wall, because you can lose championships that way.
And Rudd is back in the pits, Jerry.
They were going to give the 1 lap to go signal that time by, but apparently they couldn't get the cars back in line. So it was a break for Ricky Rudd to be able to get left side tires put on the car. Now he heads back down pit road. He follows Kyle Petty back on the turn 1. They're getting set to go green next time by.
The signal was given, then they cancel it. Now they have given it again. Next time around we will be going green and restarting this race.
Now, several of the drivers back towards the back of the pack have made pit stops during this caution period, including Davey Allison. He made a pit stop on the back stretch. So did Richard Petty. Kyle Petty made a pit stop on the front stretch here. Dale Jarrett stopped on the back stretch to change 4 tires. So
we understand, Ed, that this 28 car, Davey Allison, has a toe-in problem and may be coming in, right, John?
Well, Bob, if they had a couple more laps under caution, but they've just gotten the 1 to go, so Robert Yates and Larry McReynolds have decided to leave Davey out. They brought him in at the first part of this caution. They checked the left side is towed in. They wanted to bring him in and fix it, but as you see, the race is back underway, so they've got to grin and bear it.
And I would imagine the toe-in was knocked out when he hit the curve, don't you imagine, Benny?
That's true. That curve that we saw, Jerry Clutch did his piece at the beginning of the show, that yellow curve on the inside, these fellas go in, and if they hit that curve too hard with that left front, they are going to tow the car in or out.
Spencer continues to lead. Darrell Waltrip second, followed by Rusty Wallace, Bobby Hamilton, and Lake Speed. Then comes Harry Gant, Terry Labonte, Brett Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, Ernie Irvin.
Waltrip staying a little bit closer to Spencer this time than he did on the last restart.
And again, here's how to enter the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. Call 1-900-933-9300 before the halfway lap. Then stay tuned to see which car is the first Chevy to finish the race. If your entry is selected, you have given the correct Chevy winner, you will win your choice of any Chevy Lumina, including the fabulous C34. The ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. Jimmy Spencer continues to lead.
Darrell Waltrip staying close. Rusty Wallace right there too, knocking on their door.
Tell you what, this Black Deuce is going to be somebody to be reckoned with before this day's over.
Spencer started this race in 21st position. What's your plan to do well here, Jimmy? After all, you do have a lot of track time here at Martinsville.
Well, Travis Corner on that radio, telling you what you need to know, how fast you have to go at that certain time of the race, when to use the brakes, when not to use the brakes. Keep reminding the driver, keep your foot off that brake pedal. Just conserve that car. You got a long day ahead of you. And I've got a lot of experience in Martinsville, and I know if it's in a 2,500-pound modified, you can use up the brakes. In a 3,700-pound Winston Cup car, you can use the brakes up very easy. So you do got to use your head and save that car for the end of that race.
Well, Jimmy is watching all of the action behind him. We did have a change for second position there. You saw Rusty Wallace go into second, passing Darrell Waltrip, and here's how it occurred.
Going down the back straightaway, Rusty gets a good run on him and just simply out-brakes Darrell going down the corner. Kind of like the pass on a road course. Dive down and hit the brakes, and here goes Gant. And watch that.
Same thing. I think Darrell slipped just a little bit coming off of turn 2. Gant got his nose up under him, and then going into turn 3, he motored right on around.
Harry Gant has moved to third position.
Bad news for the rest of the team.
What a story.
The proof, I should say. Yeah, it is a great story. He runs that strong, and he's not pushing that car either. He's driving it good, but he is not abusing that race car.
A couple of guys that are banging on each other out there. Lake Speed and Bobby Hamilton. A side cam now with Lake Speed. Watch him go into turn 1.
That is the position 5 that you're arguing over. Some people call this the dog cam, I'm told. You know, like a dog hanging his head out the window of your old truck as you go down the road.
That's a good analogy.
Well, he wouldn't want to be a dog hanging his head out one of these windows, would he?
No, he wouldn't.
Get it knocked off.
The Lake Speed finally gets in front of the Bobby Hamilton Country Time Oldsmobile. And just when he gets rid of Lake Speed, along comes a 94 car. That's Terry Labonte's Sunoco Oldsmobile. And Harry Gant's gaining on him, Ned.
Boy, he sure is. He is closing in. Hamilton now caught on the outside of Labonte and Brett Bodine.
He's been on the outside for the last 10 laps, it looks like.
Yeah, his left side of the car is showing quite a bit of damage. Labonte passes Hamilton. Now here comes Brett Bodine, and the next to do so would be Morgan Shepherd in car number 15. And there is the interval between that group of cars and Harry Gant, who's in 3rd position.
And there's old Rusty Wallace. Watch Harry, he checks 11th at lap 25, then 7th, 6th, and now at lap 122, Harry's up to 3rd spot.
Jerry Punch in Bill Elliott's pit.
They're working underneath the car to replace the transmission they could not. As Rusty Wallace makes the move by Jimmy Spencer, we'll take a look and show you. This is the transmission that came out of Bill Elliott's car. The tail housing and part of the rear seal is cracked here, allowing the fluid to come out. They could not replace the rear seal. They took this one out and they put a new one in, but it's cost Bill a lot of time here on the green.
That's the situation with Bill Elliott. Meanwhile, the new leader is Rusty Wallace as Jimmy Spencer gives that position up and goes to 2nd. Spencer, believe it or not, 5th in laps led on short tracks during the 1991 season. He's led over 280 laps on the short track. Of course, the leader in that category is Dale Earnhardt. So Rusty Wallace leads Spencer, Gant, Darrell Waltrip, and Lake Speed. Patience, my friend, patience.
Spencer was really dogging him. Harry got up there and said, look, he was alone.
Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Rusty Wallace leads the Goodies 500. 2nd place is Jimmy Spencer in car number 98, and right on his back bumper is Harry Gant.
Spencer, when Rusty Wallace got by him a little bit ago, he just decided to take it easy. He was going to ride. But Harry Gant got up there and started pushing him and said, look, either go on or let me by. Spencer decided to go on.
Here's how Rusty got the lead. Now, talk about patience. This is patience. Rusty had been back there in 2nd position for a long time, saw the moment, the opportunity he needed, and zoomed. into the lead he went.
And there goes Harry again.
Yep.
This is down the back straightaway going in turn 3. Now he's taking over that second spot, and right in front of Harry again is the leader, Rusty Wallace. What a story this Harry again is.
I'm telling you, you got people in the grandstand standing up, waving their fists, cheering this 51-year-old guy. And as we talked about earlier before we went on the air, Ned Benny, this guy doesn't have an enemy in the world. There again.
No, sir. He's just one of the finest people that you'd ever want to meet. Just a low-key type of an individual. Just likes to get out there and drive that race car and win.
And John Kernan has a report on the 98 car that slipped to third.
Well, Bob, Travis Carter, the car owner and the crew chief, told Jimmy just a moment ago, he says, hey, let Harry go on by, let the old timer grab a little more glory, if you will. He wanted Jimmy, he was concerned, and wanted him to rest the brakes for a little while. Of course, brakes, very, very important here in Martinsville. Now, you might ask, if you're sitting home and you watched our Bristol coverage of the night race last month, Jimmy leading a lot of that. No, this is not the same car. This car is the one that he also led the race with earlier this year at North Wilkesboro.
Spencer doing well, though, still hanging in there in third position. And has quite a bit of racetrack between himself and the fourth place competitor was Lake Speed.
And Darrell Waltrip running fifth. And 4-car into the wall or up against the wall up in turn 4. That's Ernie Irvin.
Another caution period. Here's Irvin trying to get down on the racetrack and get going and save a lap, but he's not going to be able to do so as Rusty comes down to take the checkered flag.
The yellow flag, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So Ernie Irvin is spun up in the corner and lost a lap. We're here at the 7-car, maybe leaking some water or something, maybe overheating. So this would be an advantage for him to go in the pits and maybe get some screen wire going off the front of that grill or something.
Well, on the way to, of course.
This is the 6th caution period of the day already in 137 laps. Back with more live coverage of the Goodies 500.
They probably took a piece of tape off that 7-car. I thought I saw them do something we might could use it to illustrate on there. I'm watching it.
Back at Martinsville, Virginia, where the field is under caution behind the pace car. The leader of the race is Dale Earnhardt. He stayed out there to make sure he picked up those 5 bonus points for leading here this afternoon. And now the advantage is back to 36. Earnhardt over Rudd in the Winston Cup battle. Well, tonight a very, very important baseball game, especially for the Toronto Blue Jays. And you'll see all the live action tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Sunday Night Baseball here on ESPN features the Toronto Blue Jays against the Oakland A's. Jimmy Spencer had a problem during his pit stop. John, what happened?
Well, Bob, we all the time talk about lug nuts getting jammed. Here's what it looks like, and that could really mess you up. They were going to do a 4-tire change, but on the right front tire, this lug nut jammed. They had to tighten the lug nuts. They had already taken off the left side, throw another air gun over to another man so he could tighten them up on that right front tire, and it cost Jimmy quite a few positions on the racetrack. Just look at that. Something as simple as that. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. That's what could go wrong, though, on a pit stop. And the number 5 car had to come in a couple of times.
Yeah, it did. He's so far back on the back of the pack, Bob, and so many cars in the lead lap that he had to come in twice to get 4 tires changed. He could only change 2 at a time and not lose a lap.
We talk often about the spotters that work a race and how important they are, and here is where they are, located between turns number 1 and 2, high atop the press box down there.
boy, did they had a valuable service to the drivers as they compete on these on the racetrack.
That's a great place to watch the race from, too.
It sure is. We talked about early on in the race that Rudd had led a lap and now had a 31-point lead. He had decreased the Earnhardt lead to 31 points. Now Dale Earnhardt is leading the race, and Ricky Rudd is running 26th. If that was to end that way, that's about a 100-point advantage that Earnhardt would gain on Rudd. But obviously, you would think in the next 300 laps that Rudd could come in the front somewhat from where he is in 26th.
Green out again. Earnhardt is your leader.
And Ernie Irvan trying to get a lap back. He beats Earnhardt into the first turn. He has the inside groove. He's going to come out in front of Earnhardt. So he needs a caution now. And he has fresh tires. Dale Earnhardt did not make a pit stop during this caution. Dale Jarrett is running second. Now Rusty Wallace moves into third around the car number, the Purelator Chevrolet of Derek Coate, who also did not make a pit stop. Jarrett didn't make a pit stop either.
Dale Jarrett, who was involved in a spin earlier, now is all the way up to second spot. Rusty Wallace third. Wallace taking a look to the inside of Dale, pulling alongside in the fourth turn and coming out onto the straightaway in second position.
Rusty has the fresh tires on, which normally is an advantage on the short track. And he'll move up on Earnhardt pretty quickly as well. And Ernie Irvan, of course, had fresh tires, and he passed Earnhardt and just drove away from him.
This is a radial car. Last week at Dover, the cars used the bias flat tires. And look at Rusty pulls up and goes on the inside of Earnhardt and says, "See you, Dale."
Well, I'll tell you, those new tires really make a difference, don't they?
As I was saying, last week at Dover, they used the bias ply. This week, the radial tire. And that's been a concern for the teams because of, and here's Harry again trying to take over a spot from Derek Coate. He does it. That's the fourth spot.
And Morgan Shepherd also beside of Coate. Here's Harry Gant now moving in on Dale Jarrett. Jarrett still running third. Gant is fourth. Morgan Shepherd is fifth.
Just coming off the caution flag, and that means we do a lot of passing, and so we'll update you on the field rundown in just a moment when things settle down a bit. Harry Gant has moved up to third position, and now the battle for fourth. Well, it isn't a battle anymore as Morgan Shepherd has gone to fourth. Dale Jarrett back to fifth.
And Bill Elliott's done in turn one, trying to get back on the racetrack. He does drive back out. As here goes Harry on the outside, passes Dale Earnhardt. That was not as difficult as it looked because Earnhardt said, "Go ahead, Harry." He was going to respect his age.
Now Harry Gant setting his sights on the leader, Rusty Wallace. And Morgan Shepherd moves up to third position, going to the inside of Dale Earnhardt.
Brett Bodiner, outside pole sitter on the inside of Dale Jarrett, takes the spot away down in turn one.
That's seventh. So at Martinsville, with 150 laps completed, the leader of the race is Rusty Wallace. Harry Gant runs second. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Guys in the pits, the 25 car is going straight back. I don't know.
He wasn't running too smoothly before this last caution.
I guess that's, yeah, I guess you're right, Ned.
Well, we missed another spin, but we didn't miss a caution. Bernie says, how come we didn't throw a caution there?
We're back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, and now Harry Gant closes to within a car length of the leader, Rusty Wallace. 2 laps ago, we had another spin, but it did not bring out a caution. Watch the red car of Derek Cope come off turn 4.
He gets tapped by Martin as they come off turn 4, and Cope goes around like a top, but just luckily stops the car going almost the right direction, puts it in first gear and drives away.
And he's still in the lead lap.
And John Kernan has more on this.
Well, Bob, Derek had moved up into the field. I talked to him this morning. He said with his new crew chief, Doug Williams, who had worked for Cale Yarborough Motorsports at Lake Speed, joined the team on Wednesday. He said the one thing that Williams was able to do was to give him a calming effect. And that's what Doug is doing right now, talking to Derek on the radio, trying to keep his cool because he's still in the race.
And Derek Cope, although he did spin, stays on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt is going to the back of the pack. He's on those old tires. Remember, he didn't come in for a pit stop when we had our most recent caution period.
And Richard Petty and Ricky Rudd get together in turn 1.
Ricky Rudd in trouble. He was running 23rd when he and Richard Petty. And now Petty's got a fire in his car. Flame coming from the underside of the car. Richard spins it in the middle of the backstretch.
And Ernie Urban trying to stay out in front of Rusty Wallace to get back to the start-finish line.
He will be able to do so. And Richard Petty has the car going again. There is a lot of liquid on the racetrack. Now, let's take a look at the tail end of the wreck. Watch the far right of your screen.
Well, as they went into turn 1, Rudd tried to get on the inside of Richard Petty, and they touched. And around they went. Richard just tapped the wall and then took off. But then all of a sudden, we see that fire come from underneath the car, and then he spins around, spins sideways at least, and then back the other way, and that's on the backstretch.
Well, when Richard hit the wall up there, I saw some gasoline come spurting out of the car. So, man, oh man.
Rudd was running in 23rd position when that incident occurred. And now he will head for pit road, as will Dale Earnhardt. Here's Earnhardt pitting down toward turn number 1. His is the first stall down there, Jerry.
Dale Earnhardt has no choice, Bob. You remember when the green flag came back out, he had not pitted before and had on used tires. You see exactly where he went backward, back almost out of the top 10. Now they will change 4 tires and put him back up front. The only way he could have run the car hard with used tires was to use up his brakes. He certainly did not want to do that early here at Martinsville. Now they put fresh rubber on. He should be a contender again. Headed for turn 1.
Earnhardt is out. Rudd beat him out of the pit area as the track crew remains on the racetrack.
Here is Richard Petty backing in the wall, and we can see the gasoline coming out of the car. See that gasoline right out of the back of the car there? And as he goes down this back straightaway, evidently the gasoline somehow got up to the exhaust and set the car on fire.
A lot of flame there for a moment on the other side of the car, causing Richard to spin in the middle of the backstretch. But he got the car running again. So our 7th caution period of the day is out here at Martinsville at the Goody's 500. Where did Richard go?
It looks like there's some oil or something on that number of his car.
Yeah, it does. There's something.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's run.
Yeah, that's interesting where that would have come from.
Five lost a lap.
Mm-hmm.
Just about 2 o'clock Eastern time, and if you're just joining us, welcome to Martinsville Speedway in Virginia as ESPN Speed World presents live coverage of the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race. And our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. And by McDonald's, getting more for your money. That's McDonald's today. Yellow flag out on lap 165 because of an incident up between turns 1 and 2 involving Ricky Rudd and Richard Petty. There are the top 5, and we'll take another quick break and be back with racing action.
What was it, unplugged? Oh, okay.
You keep jumping up so I can't see.
Who does?
27 cars in the lead lap.
I'm sorry.
How's the air conditioning in the track? How's the air conditioning in the truck? Good.
Well, you're getting almost as warm as we are.
John with Petty, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
A lot of work being done on the Richard Petty car on the backstretch pits. John Kernan is right there.
Well, Bob, the trailing arm in the rear end is bent. They're going to have to probably replace that. They're checking out that right now. The fire was caused when the oil cooler broke, and they're going to replace that on the right side of the car. They're working there. This is not the first time Richard has had fire this weekend in his car on Friday during the morning practice. A bolt backed its way out of the bowl on the carburetor, and he had a brief flame up there. They had to replace the entire electronic system. And Jerry Punch, what's happening on the front stretch pits?
Well, Ricky Rudd's beginning to wonder if they painted a bullseye on the back of his car the way as many times as he's been tapped here in the early laps. Now, he has the toe end knocked out on the front of his Tide Chevrolet. They don't have time to fix it because they're getting ready to go green. So he's going to have to drive it for a while and maybe hope for another yellow very soon. But here comes Rusty, the green flag.
Indeed, green flag is out. Race resumes. Rusty Wallace at the front of the field with now Harry Gant running in second position and Derek Cope second in line trying to get a lap back. It is interesting to note that the drivers second, third, fourth, and sixth in the Winston Cup points have all spun at least one time here in the first 169 laps. Earnhardt has not.
Benny, I was a little surprised that Ricky Rudd, he lost a lap, but why did he start in the rear of the field and not make up some of that track position? Maybe he's not fast enough to have passed Rusty Wallace and got back in the lead lap, but he might have kept from going another lap down.
And be involved in that heavy traffic, which he is back there now. You're right. Now, that really surprised me that Rudd did not pull up on the inside. It's like he doesn't realize that he's a lap down, but the crew must know that they lost a lap on that pit stop.
Sure they do. I don't know.
As Rusty Wallace, the black 2, is the leader. Here again, the green and white 33 Skull Bandit second. And the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd is currently third.
And if you look toward the upper left corner of your screen, you will see a Norfolk Southern train going by as the tracks.
Be a good spot for you right now, Bob.
I knew you were going to say that. I'm going to have a damsel rescue me from the tracks. Blake Speed and Rick Wilson are side by side. Jimmy Spencer also right there in car number 98.
Jerry Punch, why did Rudd not close up on the inside?
Maybe his crew realized he's a lap down, but when the car spun up there and they lost a lap, they came around and pitted on the very first lap to try to fix the car. Now, the NASCAR rules say only the cars on the lead lap can pit on that first lap. Rudd pitted because they wanted to fix the car. Therefore, he had to start in the rear of the field.
Good point.
Thank you very much, Jerry. I understand it now, and I hope the folks, when you pit out of sequence, you must start at the tail end of the longest line. And therefore, the longest line was all the cars on the lead lap, and that's why he was back there. I didn't understand that. Now I do.
And beginning to battle with the leader, Rusty Wallace, as we remind you that we're getting closer to the halfway point. Call now to enter the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. Call 1-900-933-9300 before the halfway lap. If your entry is selected and you have given the correct Chevy winner, you could win a new Chevy Lumina Z34. Stay tuned to see which car is the first Chevy to finish the Goody's 500. Right now it's Pontiac up front, Oldsmobile second, Ford third, and then Ford fifth. Buick is sixth, and finally the Chevy driven by Darrell Waltrip.
Is in sixth place. Kyle Petty is seventh. Terry Labonte is eighth. Kenny Schrader is ninth, and Rick Mast in 10th place.
Hey, again, looks just as strong today as he had for the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, now he hadn't led this thing yet, has he?
Now that things have settled down here just a little bit, here's the field summary. Watch where your favorite driver is running right now on the racetrack. New computer information being generated through our truck downstairs, allowing you to be right up to date on where everyone is running.
Boy, I love it, because that's one thing fans have always wanted to see, is where their favorite driver was running. Now we can give it to them right up to date.
Sometimes we're not able to show where they are at any particular time because of something more interesting or a closer battle on the racetrack, like we have right now as Harry Gant is trying to find the first position and try to pass Rusty Wallace, but nevertheless you can see where your driver is in the serial scoring.
And Bob, there are 26 cars still on the lead lap.
Out of the 32 that started. The 94 car of Terry Labonte just passed Kyle Petty in car number 42 for that spot. So Labonte is now 7th.
Here we come. That's Derek Cope on the outside of Jimmy Henson's Team 3 automobile. That's Sterling Marlin in the 22, the National House Ford Thunderbird.
Had to take a provisional to get in the field this afternoon. Started 31st.
Now Cope has some problems. There's slips coming off the corner. Sterling tries to dive inside of him and almost gets in the side of him. It looks like Sterling may have that spot.
Watching from Jeff Bodine's in-car camera as his teammate Sterling Marlin is just ahead of him. And then Derek Cope on the right.
Cope's not giving up without a struggle, I'll tell him that.
Oh, look at this.
And they touch again, and we see the tires rubbing off the sheet metal as they go down the straightaway.
And Earnhardt had a bird's eye view of that. Look at the damage on the right side, the left side of Rick Wilson's number 8.
He tried to get alongside the 66 car so he could do the same thing down the front straightaway, but he slipped as he got back on the accelerator coming off the corner and wasn't able to do it.
Up front, it is still Rusty Wallace with just an ever so slight advantage on Harry Gant. as those two have pulled away from the third-place car of Morgan Shepherd and the fourth-place car of Alan Kowicki. Glad you could join us for Winston Cup racing on this Sunday afternoon. We'll be back right after this. Good. Okay. Okay. Alrighty.
That was good.
Yeah.
Harry's trying to make Rusty run hard. He's trying to make him drive in the corner hard. That's really a mind game that's going on right there. Ha!
Rusty Wallace continues to lead the Goodies 500 here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Right behind him is Harry Gant in the number 33 Skoal Bandit.
And there's some real mind games going on right now. Harry Gant is running Rusty as hard as he possibly can. He's trying to make Rusty run harder than Rusty wants to. So he'll use the brakes up, do something to make the car go away at the end of the race. Harry Gant, right, he really don't want to buy Rusty Wallace, but he wants to aggravate him to death.
Well, how do you deal with this tight half-mile racetrack here at Martinsville? We asked Rusty Wallace with all the emphasis on the brakes.
I haven't had brake problems here because I'm aware of it. And I know if I run it as hard as I possibly can every single lap that I will have brake problems because I've had it in the past and I learned from the mistakes. But I take it real easy here just to make sure that they're all there. So when it gets right down to the end, you need to race. You got what you got to race with.
Well, Harry is making sure that Rusty is not taking it easy right now. And another thing about this win streak that Harry has been on, it is obvious that he has been very patient in his 3 wins. At Dover, he didn't take the lead until lap 171. At Richmond, he didn't take the lead until lap 219. And at Darlington, the first time he led was lap 151. So he has been patient, making sure the car is there for the last part of the race. And now Harry Gant does go for the lead as he comes down to complete lap number 196. And look at this crowd.
They are going nuts as the old guy, well, I shouldn't say that, but the old guy has taken the lead at Martinsville.
Harry Gant from Taylorsville, North Carolina is in front of the Winston Cup race again.
And he's going to run away from Rusty Wallace now.
I think he made Rusty use the brakes more than he wanted to. Jerry Punch, what do you think?
Well, a minute ago, Harry Gant radioed to his crew chief, and he said, hey, Rusty's holding me up. He's just holding me up. They said, well, just going around him. He said, all right. Kicked off the button, and he went right around him.
Well, it's obvious that his car is faster than Wallace's because he has indeed taken off from Rusty.
I mentioned a while ago, Bob, that there are still 25 cars in the lead lap, and we've gone almost 200 laps. They're working the 199th lap right now. That's amazing here at Martinsville. But I'll tell you, if this thing stays green another 50 laps, Harry Gant will take care of a whole lot of that.
There's an Earnhardt, or a Harry Gant fan, I should say.
She is into this thing.
Yes,
She'll be wore out when this 500 lap is over, I'll tell you that.
In 1982, Harry Gant won his first race at Martinsville. Look at the car.
He hit somebody.
The number was the same. The sponsor was the same. And, well, he looks a little bit younger in that picture, but not too much. That's Travis Carter then. And others, first-time winners here at Martinsville that are still active. Jeff Bodine, Gant, Morgan Shepherd, Dave Marcus. All winning for the first time at Martinsville. And there are buttons and signs all over this place this weekend. Life begins at 51.
I can't wait till next July.
I was going to say, we heard Benny say that yesterday, that he can't wait until next July. So Gant continues to lead. Now, speaking of yesterday, for those of you who missed it, Curtis Markham, Roy Hendrick, and John Livingston were all disqualified yesterday from that late model race that you saw at midnight Eastern time last night on ESPN, and Mike Buffkin was declared the winner of that event. There's Ted Musgrave in car number 55. He was just lapped by Harry Gant. Musgrave, one of those in contention for Rookie of the Year honors.
And the 11 car has made some contact in the wall going off turn 2. He's now going around 3 and 4. He's got some pretty good damage to the right side of the car.
Yeah, the right front. He'll have to make a pit stop. That sheet metal will wear that tire out in a hurry, and he certainly doesn't want that to happen here. He'll be headed into the wall. He's staying out there, but, boy, that's dangerous business.
I'm sure his spotter up in turn 1 and 2 can see all that smoke and just how much damage there is to the right front. I'm sure he's telling the crew to have Jeff go in the pits.
So another one of those guys that won their first race here at Martinsville that we talked about just a few moments ago.
There's Earnhardt on the outside of him. He hopes that tire doesn't blow right now. Yeah. He did get by. Now Bodine heads into the pits. Out of the way.
That's tough break. Tough break for Jeff.
John Kernan is up there on the backstretch.
Well, you can see the damage on the right side. This will be only 2 tires. A little bit of sheet metal damage on that right front. Tim Brewer and the crew going to work. Jeff a little bit anxious. Wants to hurry up. Now they have to pull the sheet metal away. That's what cost him a little time. You see that Tim Brewer has a hammer there, beating the sheet metal out of the way. They're losing a lot of valuable time here in the pits. And Bodine won both races here at the track last year, obviously upset.
And a 3-time winner in all here in Martinsville. In addition to those 2 races he won last year, he won the Haynes 500, the spring race in 1984. Here's Darrell Waltrip in number 17 and Jimmy Hensley in number 24 down the front stretch.
Hensley having a very good run here today. No big surprise. He has won a number of Busch Grand National races here, including a race in the spring. Here's Sterling Marlin now going to the inside of Waltrip.
And now we're going to show you the in-car camera of Jeff Bodine. Watch the 6 and the 10. They hit, and then boom.
Hit again.
And a spin coming off for is Davey Allison as he's into the inside wall. The Haviland Ford is against the inside wall, and the yellow flag is out for the 8th time this afternoon.
And it's a break for a lot of drivers that were about to go a lap down. I mentioned a moment ago, if this thing stayed green for 40 or 50 laps, Harry Gant was going to put a lot of people a lap down. He was about to put Ricky Rudd 2 laps down.
Here's a replay of how Davey Allison spun off 4.
He's coming off the corner on the inside of Darrell Waltrip. That's Darrell in the Western Auto Chevrolet. And all of a sudden, did you see Davey's car? It like hit a bump or something. It's like there was oil there or something.
And Darrell did a nice job of saving it because he was almost as sideways as Davey was.
I see. There is some contact between the 2 cars right there. I didn't see that the first time by.
Davey sliding to the inside and just barely touching the wall. And now we have a lot of pit activity here on the front stretch. And Jerry Punch is in Harry Gant's pit.
Well, Charlie Presley, Andy Petrie, and the rest of the Skull crew have already changed right side tires. Rusty on the bottom of your screen, you see the Miller crew working on the Miller genuine draft car. They changed left side tires on Rusty. Left side tires are already on Harry Gant. Rusty still in the air as Gant now moves down pit road at 35 miles an hour. Rusty is down and away. Good pit work here by the Skull crew.
Rusty Wallace comes out, and now let's go to the backstretch pits and John Kernan, who's there with Jimmy Hensley.
Well, you see just the disadvantage that you have. Jimmy not running that far behind him on the racetrack, but because he's pitted on the backstretch and they close pit road, he is just now getting 2 tires on the right side. Less going on. Also a slight chassis adjustment made in the right side. Now, something that may have been a contributing factor in Davey Allison's spin. I talked to Joey Knuckles. Remember we said they had the left side towed in? Well, they fixed that problem on the last caution, but there was a problem with the steering box, guys, and Joey said that whenever Davey got into the turns, in the middle of the turns, felt like there was a lot of play in the wheel, so that may have had something to do with him spinning out and not keeping control of the car.
Well, in any case, the 8th caution period of the day is upon us here at Martinsville with 211 laps completed. We'll be back with more live coverage in just a moment.
Thank you.
Okay.
Let's just hang around here for a little while.
John.
Okay.
John.
Yeah.
Looks like Davy's knocked his rear housing over.
Has he? I'm not down on that end.
He's going behind the wall right now.
He is?
Davy Allison.
Hey, all right, we'll head down there. Hey, Benny.
Yeah.
What it was, the spline on the steering box was bent. And I didn't know, if I should get that technical. But, maybe would that if there's a lot of play in the wheel and you're in the middle of the turn?
He and Darrell just made contact.
Is that all it was?
Yeah.
But it does make it tougher to straighten out if you get...
Okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, I hear you. Even when they're 30 points behind.
I think you bent the trailing arms. They're going to put new trailing arms on, it looks like.
Yeah.
About 15 seconds ago, they went green, and Harry Gant is maintaining the advantage here over Rusty Wallace and Morgan Shepherd. And we're nearing the halfway point as we're at 215 out of 500 laps, 250 the halfway mark. Don't forget to enter the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes.
There's Morgan Shepherd showing some strength that we haven't seen. Well, he's been running pretty good all day, but his car seems to fade after about 15, 20 laps. They've made some pit stop, adjusted. Maybe they've done something now where they've enabled the car to keep going. I thought Rusty would challenge Harry those first few laps, but hasn't worked so far.
They're working hard on Davy Allison's car, trying to get him back on the racetrack so he can pick up some more Winston Cup points. Came into this race 205 behind the leader, Dale Earnhardt, certainly with a mathematical chance of winning the Winston Cup, but realistically not very much of a chance. They're changing the trailing arms on that car.
I think when he hit that inside wall that it just bent him. It looked like it hit with the rear wheel and bent one of the trailing arms or both of them. Cost him a lot of time.
There's a race for fourth between Alan Kowicki and Brett Bodine. Rusty closes up on the back of Harry again now. He's going to pressure Harry like Harry did him the last time.
Harry has not moved away from Rusty as he had done earlier.
One thing in life will teach is patience, right, Bob?
You got that? Yes, I don't know. I'm not nearly as old as you are, Ben.
Rusty's running right on the curve going around these corners. Harry Gant has moved his car up a few feet off the curve, but Rusty's car is right on that curve.
Now we're going to widen out here and show you the entire field as it comes down. Look for your favorite driver.
Owen Walton going through. Earnhardt. Spencer back in there.
Hamilton, Ruttman, Little, Elliott, Marcus. Here comes the leaders again.
Dave Marcus, the Big Apple Market Chevrolet, still on the lead lap.
Here's Dale Earnhardt going by late speed. Jimmy Hensley trying to go by as well.
Earnhardt is 11th, and Ricky Rudd is 23rd. The two who are battling for the Winston Cup.
And you say, well, that's 5 points per position. That's not quite true. Back from 11th back is 3 points per position. So I think from 12th position back is 3 points. So Earnhardt would only have gained about 25 or 30 points on Rudd so far.
This is the Phillips 66 in-car camera there briefly with Lake Speed.
Well, Harry now starting to stretch it out a little bit. A little bit ago, it's just a few feet. Now it's 2 car lengths.
I guess Rusty had moved up there trying to make Harry use his car up like Harry we thought he did a little while ago on Rusty.
Probably didn't work. Probably Rusty probably used his car more to get up there than he should have. Harry Gant's car is very, very good today. And we see, watch how he's off the curb a little bit, and Rusty's right on that curb as he goes through the corner.
Of course, we did have there on the field summary Wallace leading, but he is not, of course. Harry Gant is the leader of the race with Wallace running second, but this is the way the rest of the field is running.
Ricky Rudd, 23rd, 1 lap down. Dave Marcus is the last car on the lead lap. Michael Waltrip we see down. He's had some problems. He was in the behind the wall for a little while. Michael went over in Kentucky last night, was the best man at a wedding. Davey Green, Busch Grand National driver, got married last night. And Michael and he went to school together. So he went over and was the best man at the wedding. Said he got back about 1:30 this morning.
Oh. There's 4th and 5th. Alan Kowicki, number 7, and Brett Bodine, number 26. We'll return next weekend to the site of Brett Bodine's most recent win in Winston Cup competition last year at North Woodsboro. We'll be there with live coverage of that event next Sunday afternoon here on ESPN.
Brett has a brand new race car here this week.
And renewed enthusiasm.
I tell you what, he really does. With all the confusion's been going on over at that place, he is really pumped up. He said this is the new Kenny Bernstein team that we brought to Martinsville this week, along with a new race car. His best finish on the season, by the way, was 4th here at Martinsville earlier in the year. There's the interval between 1st and 2nd as Harry now has 4, 5, 6 car lengths on Rusty Wallace, but Rusty closes up in the corners. Fighting it, coming a little off forward. And Jerry Punch has a report on Harry Gant.
Talking about naming cars, guys, you know, a lot of people name their cars, give them different names. They don't use names in Harry Gant's situation with Leo Jackson. They use numbers. X1000, X2000, X3000, etc. Now, this car here is X1000. But after winning it early, and they've changed the name on the dash, it's now called X100,000 after winning the money from Winston.
More zeros on it, huh?
Yeah. Harry, of course, did walk off with that $100,000 bonus from RJR this year. I'm going over tomorrow to Taylorsville to interview Harry Gant for a couple of people. And, you know, I wonder if he's going to buy me lunch. I doubt it. And that report will be on Speed Week next Thursday night at 7:30 with Benny Parsons at home with Harry Gant. He's the leader of the Goodies 500 here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains. Back after this.
Harry's probably got him cruised now.
Yeah.
2097 and past Marcus.
Whew. That's pretty strong, Dave.
Yeah, really
man,
is.
oh man. What they qualify? 2032 was the pole, wasn't it?
Yeah. 2095.
Okay. Around the world, around the year, with over 1 million miles of award-winning auto racing coverage. ESPN Speed World is in Martinsville, Virginia today for the Goodies 500. gives you an idea of some of the thousands of spectators that have turned out here, parking their cars on the hillsides nearby Martinsville Speedway as they watch Harry Gant lead this race. And now he's stretched out the lead over Rusty Wallace by a little bit.
Rusty Wallace all of a sudden is off the pace, Bob. It looks like he's lost a cylinder to me. The 2 car is definitely off the pace. I don't know if it's, well, again, I won't speculate because we have people down to do that. But as we saw just a couple of laps ago, it was just a few car lengths, and now
the battle is for 3rd position as Alan Kowicki sneaks up on the back bumper of the 15 car Morgan Shepherd.
Blake Speed, who was running up there in the top 10 for a while, just had a problem. He's going very slow here on the front straightaway. If we look at his windshield down in turn 1, he's very high on the racetrack. He might be trying to, he's pitting on the back. He might be trying to get down into the pits, but the stream of traffic just keeps going by and he can't get down there.
No, he was not able to get by, and the car is smoking. I saw some smoke out of the right side. Now he accelerates.
Now he raises his hand and make sure that everybody can see him. He is way up high on the racetrack.
There's
well
just
out of the group.
Not many open spots, Bob, that he can get down. Now, Jeff Bodine's going by now. He can get down there. He'll make that move right now.
There
he's doing it.
Yep.
Moving down to the inside.
Joe Ruttman saw him and made sure that he allowed Lake to get down to the inside. And now Lake will head for his pits on the backstretch. Let's go to Jerry Punch, who's with Eddie Dickerson.
You fellas were commenting that Rusty may be slowing down a little bit. You're saying Rusty may have dropped off a little bit in his pace. Is there a problem with the car, Eddie?
No, we're just looking at the race right now, Jerry. It's 250 laps. You know, we're not quite halfway. We've got to be here another 250 laps, so that's where we're going right now.
All right, so maybe a little bit of conservatism here in the Rusty Wallace pit. Remember what happened last time in the spring, guys? He was leading, and then last pit stop, the rear end came out of the car, so he's taking it a little bit easy.
Yeah, that was a real heartbreak for Rusty Wallace here in the spring. He runs second now, maintaining that position, and apparently just cruising here in the mid part of the race. Now the 7 car, Alan Kowicki, finally got around Morgan Shepherd.
Well, we see Morgan going down the corner a little bit too hard. Slipped up, left an open for Kowicki. He took advantage of it, take the spot away.
So Alan Kowicki is now 3rd, Morgan Shepherd 4th, Brett Bodine 5th. As we watch Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, and Ken Schrader. That's 8th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
So Earnhardt was running 11th just a little bit ago, now up to 7th spot, so he's on the way forward.
Ricky Rudd, meanwhile, is 21st. This whole group of cars here battling for position.
Darrell not able to keep his car on the bottom of the racetrack. There's Lake Speed going behind the wall.
And John Kernan can give us a report on Lake's problem.
Well, the hood goes up. What they're going to have to do is replace a right front brake caliper. We had talked about how Lake had been running so well in the top 10. Apparently, he just used his brakes up just a little bit too much, so they have had to pull the number 66 Phillips Top Arctic Pontiac behind the wall, and they will go to work. You see they have a fire extinguisher out just in case fluid gets on that really hot brake rotor and a fire might erupt.
This is 8th, 9th, and 10th right here. Ken Schrader, Darrell Waltrip, Rick Mast, and the 24 car of Jimmy Hensley, along with the 94 of Terry Labonte. And Hensley is, as you pointed out earlier, Ned, giving that car a good run.
Yes, he's having a good run. There's Terry Labonte going on the inside. Now, this group of cars, Bob, are about 2/3 of a lap behind Harry Gant. If this thing goes green for another 40 laps, Harry Gant might come up and put a lap on those guys.
That 24 car will be driven next year by Kenny Wallace, the younger brother of Rusty Wallace, and the fellow who's trying to win the Busch Grand National Championship this year. He's 7 points behind now, Ned? Is that?
Yeah, I think it's single digit, less than 10 going into the All-Pro Park 300 at Charlotte in a couple of weeks.
And here comes Gant off corner number 4, and he will take the crossed flags, indicating the halfway point. We have reached the halfway point, and now all phone-in entries for this week's ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes are closed. The winner of the sweepstakes will be announced on our next Chevy Sweepstakes race Call 1-900-933-9300 and 10 more minutes to enter the next contest. Now, Jimmy Stewart was the winner of our most recent contest. He is from Orange, Texas, and our congratulations to Jimmy Stewart winning the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. Now, our Western Auto race recap. Harry Gant has led 54 of the 250 laps, 8 caution periods in the first half of the race, 41 laps. We've had 12 lead changes among 10 drivers, and the average speed of the event is 74.204 miles an hour. Those that have led include Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Bodine, Kowicki, Martin Little, Spencer, Gant, Marcus, and Earnhardt. So Rudd and Earnhardt are still 36 points. Well, we don't have very many people out of this race at the moment. Richard Petty, Davey Allison, and Lake Speed, all 3 of those are behind the wall, but are not necessarily out of the race. Our Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings show that Larry McReynolds from Davey Allison's crew is on top of the standings, followed by Danny Glad from Alan Kowicki's crew, then Tony Glover from Ernie Irvin. Robin Pemberton on Mark Martin's crew is 4th, and Kurt Shelmerdine on the number 3 Dale Earnhardt car is 5th in the point standings. And Richard Petty returns to competition.
And he's been out for a while in the STP Pontiac, but they've made all of those repairs, put a new oil cooler on it, or put a new line in that oil cooler, and knocked the sheet metal away from the tires, and there he goes.
I said that Richard Petty's gasoline caught on fire. I'm glad John explained to me that was the oil cooler that broke that's caused that fire, because I was wondering how the gasoline got up there.
And now Harry Gant is moving in on a whole bunch of traffic. That's Jeff Bodine just ahead of him. Dale Jarrett is up there. So is Mark Martin and Hud Strickland and Darrell Walter. It's going to be interesting to watch the leader of the race, Harry Gant, move through this traffic.
Now we see Mark Martin going on the inside of Darrell Walter there. He wants to speed up as much as he can. His crew have told him, say, Gant's coming. You're about to go a lap down. Dale Jarrett did the same thing. He gets on the inside of Walter going into turn 1, trying to keep him going a lap down. All of them hoping for a caution right now because Gant is right there ready to put a lap on him.
Dale Jarrett is running in 21st position. So we have that many cars that are on the lead lap. Harry Gant, we see him through the back glass of the Citgo Ford driven by Jarrett. While Harry works this traffic, we're going to take another break and be back with more of our live coverage from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia of race number 24 of the Winston Cup season, the Goody's 500. We'll be right back. Yes. I'm sure the Colts are blowing whoever they're playing out. Yeah, they'll win today.
Yeah.
The what? Oh, okay. Okay, we'll tell everybody who won the race right after this one. So nothing. Just kidding.
Oh, 22 spins.
Hits. And going. No, 17 was in the pits when that had just entered the pits.
Another caution, huh?
Well, he was trying to get up there and get a lap back, and he just went in that turn too fast.
Did Senna win Formula One today? Patrese? No kidding.
Back in Martinsville.
Speedway under caution, and Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace both on pit road. Left side of Rusty Wallace, Harry Gant is off the jack, headed down pit road. Rusty is now out, and they will head back to turn 1. They're side by side going to turn 1, and Harry Gant will beat him back on the track in turn 1. So good pit action once again by the Skoll crew. Bob?
Was a drag race, though, to the line coming out of the pit area. The reason for the caution, a spin over in turn number 2 involving Sterling Marlin.
I don't know exactly if the 98 car and the 22 made contact or not, but I tell you what, it was. And Alan Kulwicki is being pushed down pit road.
The guy that was running third is being pushed down pit road. What is the deal here?
Evidently the engine died and he can't get it refired.
We see a guy has jumped in the car. There's a fella, we see his feet sticking out. They probably are changing ignition boxes, trying to get the car started.
What kind of an infraction is this?
Well, I think they can push it a reasonable distance on pit road.
He's almost halfway.
There was the ether being shot in the car.
He shouldn't have been out of gas.
Bobby Hamilton going out. Kulwicki's car has not started yet.
And he's about to go a lap down.
We see Paul Andrews back on the right rear quarter panel. That's the crew chief talking to Alan.
He does go a lap down, and now they're going to push the car back toward his pit stall, which is the very first off of turn 4. Jerry?
They had an overheating problem, guys. Thought they might have an internal engine problem. During the caution flag before, the car got very hot while sitting on pit road, and now they're going to push the car back up pit road, raise the hood on the Hooters Ford, and try to get the engine restarted. So we're under caution here for the Goody's 500, 265 laps complete. Harry Gant leads the way. Back with more after this.
Might have been, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I said Andrews is the crew chief. They've got Danny Glad as the crew chief on their graphic there, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I said that.
Benny did.
I did. I said Paul Andrews was the crew chief. He's actually team manager, I guess.
Yeah.
They give credit to the crew chief, credit to Danny Glad.
Oh, man. Somebody hand me my briefcase. Hand me my briefcase. Heel comes down and receives the one more lap to go signal. Next time by, we'll be going racing. And John Kernan has a report on Jimmy Hensley.
Bob, I was just talking to Barry Dotson, the crew chief, checking lap times. Hensley's running the same lap times, he says, as Harry Gant. He says on an open track together, Jimmy could beat Harry Gant. The problem is he pits on the backstretch. He doesn't even get into his pit. Harry's already gotten 4 tires and has come down and passed Jimmy. So Jimmy is lining up behind him. What Barry says they're going to have to do on their final pit stop, assuming that it would go green, what they would have to do is just come in and take on 2 tires and fuel only. He says it's a gamble, but if they want a chance to win the race, that's the only way he can see that they can get that chance.
As we go back to green, the number 7 car of Alan Kulwicki remains on pit road. And here is the green flag. As we resume competition, Ricky Rudd is trying to get his lap back. And I don't believe he's going to be able to do it as Harry Gant on the outside line takes the advantage.
Harry is tough, isn't he? I mean, these are not bad cars he's just driving by. Very good race. You ever see the 24 car, Jimmy Hensley, that John was just talking about? That's Ted Musgrave on the inside.
Morgan Shepherd is 3rd, Brett Bodine is 4th, and 5th is Dale Earnhardt. The 2 cars to the inside, Ricky Rudd and Darrell Waltrip are on lap down. big day of auto racing here on ESPN. Earlier today, you saw live coverage of the Grand Prix of Portugal won by Ricardo Patrese. And right after our live coverage of this Winston Cup race, we'll be going to Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and the Texaco Havoline 200 kart IndyCar race. That's at 4:30 this afternoon, Eastern Time, about an hour and 45 minutes from right now.
And that's what I thought Rusty would do the last time that he made a pit stop. Really pressure Harry Gant for the first few laps after the green flag has been displayed. This time he's doing it. But I think in about 10 or 15 laps, so once again, Gant's car will start stretching it out.
Harry Gant is going for 4 wins in a row. The last driver to do that in Winston Cup competition was Dale Earnhardt in 1987 as he won at Darlington, North Wilkesboro, Bristol, and Martinsville. And the number 7 car of Alan Kulwicki remains on pit road.
That's a tough break for him.
Big trouble. Crash over in turn 2, just out of turn 2. Jimmy Spencer and Joe Ruttman are the cars involved. A lot of damage on the Ruttman car.
Some heavy damage to Joe Ruttman's car. Spencer, meanwhile, gets his car going again and drives off, but Ruttman's car, there's Spencer as he moves away in the back of Frozen Boot Chevrolet.
Here's a replay.
Ruttman and the 98 car running side by side. They get together. Jimmy spins. Now Joe spins, and they meet again as they come off the second corner.
Several other cars got by. A few of them, Dave Marcus.
Yeah.
A couple of them, Ted Musgrave, came down on the inside to pit road.
There's the traffic jam, and that's how easy it is for the track to get blocked here at Martinsville. Our 10th caution of the day is out now here at Martinsville because of an accident involving Jimmy Spencer and Joe Ruttman. All right. Intimidator. Yeah, it is. Trackbacks are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
To the casual observer, this may look like your typical engineering and design office. Well, the engineer is Bobby Hutchins, a North Carolina State University graduate. His office, though, is part of Richard Childress Racing, which constructs race cars for Dale Earnhardt. Now, what Bobby's about to do is design another Stratz member of the Chevrolet Lumina chassis, which you see race each Sunday afternoon. With each subsequent drawing, Hutchins adds another member of the chassis, another portion of the roll bar. Now, when he is finished, his drawings will number close to 20. These drawings will be taken then out to the fabrication shop next door to his office, where that Goodwrench Chevrolet will be constructed. Obviously, a lot more to building a race car than just dropping by your local dealership on a Sunday afternoon.
And here's why stressed members of the chassis and roll bars are so important. Here's the incident between Jimmy Spencer and Joe Ruttman.
Well, they both lose control, and bang. I mean, heavy blow to the right rear of Spencer's car. We saw all the damage earlier, the 75 car, so we know that Chevrolet Spencer's has to be banged up.
And there you can see close up some of the roll bars that stick over the head of Dale Jarrett as he is ready for the resumption of this race in the Citgo Ford in just a moment. The crews remain on the racetrack cleaning up the crash out of turn number 2. Oh, yeah.
Look at what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, Spencer's going to the pits. That housing's got to be bent in it.
There's Kawicki back out again.
Yep. 13 laps down. Spencer is. Three laps ago. Oh, yeah. The green flag has come back out here at Martinsville after 283 laps. It is Harry Gant leading the Goodies 500 over Rusty Wallace, Morgan Shepherd, Brett Bodine, and Dale Earnhardt. 14 cars remain on the lead lap at this point. A lot of traffic here as we've just gone back to green. This is the Jeff Bodine in-car camera. You can see contact there between number 1, Rick Mast, and number 22, Sterling Marlin.
We'll see some more contact.
Hey, Rick Mast has a tough road to travel out there on the outside because he's passing some good cars that are a lap down. Sterling Marlin is one off those cars, and they give him room out there, but it's tough to pass when a car is running as good as Sterling is there.
Field summary once again. Working himself into the top 10. Mast there running 7th on the outside.
As I mentioned, 14 cars on the lead lap. Ernie Irvin is the last car on the lead lap, and Darrell Waltrip is 15th, 1 lap down. Rudd, Marlin, Jarrett, Marcus are all 1 lap down. And Derek Cope.
Joe Ruttman just crashed on the backstretch. Kawicki is back in the race after spending 13 laps on pit road. We'll have more on that in just a moment. And there is the completion of the field summary. Now, Doc, what was the problem with Kawicki?
Well, they changed wiring, they changed amplifiers, they finally changed the distributor. Let me show you what the problem was. Inside the distributor, this little blue device is called the pickup coil. It actually replaces the points in a normal distributor, and that is amplified and gives a spark through the distributor. The pickup coil had failed on Alan Kawicki. They have a new distributor in. He is back running, but now some 13 laps down. Bob?
Alan Kawicki with a tough road ahead of him. He came into this race 15th in the Winston Cup point standings. but with a lot of enthusiasm about next year and the next 3 years, as a matter of fact, because of the major sponsorship that he signed with Hooters just a week or so ago. Back up front, meanwhile, it is still Harry Gant with a car length or 2 advantage on Rusty Wallace.
Well, here's a race by the 2-point leaders. The Black 3, Dale Earnhardt leading the points. Ricky Rudd is in second. The points just 36 points behind going into today's race. But right now, Ricky Rudd is a lap down. Earnhardt is in the lead lap. You know, these guys stand a chance of winning $1 million. And when they have these lotteries all over the country, like the Virginia lottery, I mean, the people only get $200,000 to $300,000 a year for 20 years. and it's 14 million to 1 to win.
Yeah, right.
And these guys, one of them's going to win $1 million.
Odds are a little better here.
Odds are better. It's 50%. I mean, that's eliminating everyone else, but to me, it looks like it is a 2-car race. Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd.
Of course, the difference is they won't draw, they won't spin balls and pull one out to see who is the winner.
Yeah.
They're going to spin those tires and
it's
those cars there on the racetrack.
It's a little bit more than walking up to your corner convenience store and flopping down $1 and saying, I want a chance. These guys, they earn it.
They have over the years, there's no doubt about it. To be in this position, they've been in racing all their life and have spent many, many hours preparing themselves, both the cars mechanically and themselves physically, to do this. Ricky Rudd this year is lifting weights, running, doing more physical work to get himself physically ready than ever before in his career.
Well, as we mentioned, it's basically down to these 2 guys, Rudd and Earnhardt. How much are you thinking about winning the Winston Cup title? What's going on in your mind right now?
I'd say probably at least a minute on every hour of the day you're awake. It'll flash in your mind a minute. Well, when do we need to try this? Or what happens if this happens? We need to be prepared for that. So you've been there before. You know, it is something that consumes you just about 24 hours a day. If you wake up in the middle of the night, it's because something flashed on your mind that might be able to help you for the rest of the season. It just doesn't leave you.
Well, we're still not in too bad a shape. We're still leading, so that's something to say about it. But, you know, Martinsville is a good racetrack for us. We do need to turn around and gain some this time. We've lost too many weeks in a row here, and it's time to gain a few points.
Well, once again, Dale Earnhardt is on the lead lap in 5th position, and Ricky Rudd is a lap down in 16th.
Now, Rudd has just moved around Darrell Waltrip and,
yeah, you're right.
And
so
taken over another position, so this moves him up. That's 3 more points he gained there, plus a couple $1,000 probably in prize money.
And Jerry has a comment on Rudd's car that he's running here today.
If you wonder how dedicated the Hendrick Motorsports team is to Ricky Rudd having a shot at winning the Winston Cup Championship, I'll tell you how dedicated. Monday, they had a team meeting with all the teams, Schrader's team and Rudd's team, and they decided that the new low-snout Laughlin car was the best car for Martinsville. The only problem was Schrader had one and Rudd didn't. So they had a bare chassis laying in the floor. Hendrick said, guys, go to work. We got to have one for Ricky. Now, all 3 crews, the R&D crew, the Tide crew, and Kenny Schrader's Kodiak crew worked around the clock in shifts for 3 days to build that car from scratch. They rolled it off the truck here, and it was one of the fastest cars during qualifying. So certainly a lot of effort going in to give Ricky Rudd a shot at winning the Winston Cup Championship.
Yeah, you know, although all the credit goes to Ricky Rudd, and he will be the one named as the recipient of the $1 million if he wins the Winston Cup title, there are a lot of guys that put in a lot of hard work and are just almost as deserving as the driver of the car.
There's never been more of a team sport than auto racing. The driver is more visible. That's all we can see is Kenny Schrader, Waltrip, and Earnhardt goes in the corner is those 3 individuals. But each of those teams have 25, 30 people back at the shops and here today that make the cars go around the racetrack.
And they're probably waking up in the middle of the night also and thinking about how they can make their car just a little bit faster that might give them that $1 million.
You never stop thinking.
And just in case that you folks are wondering, yes, Harry Gant's leading the race. If he can make it, that would be 4 in a row. There goes Brett Bodine. He's trying to pass Morgan Shepherd for 3rd spot.
Brett Bodine does go to 3rd. Brett has been up front all day. He started 2nd outside the front row. He led a while and now finds himself in 3rd place as he has just taken over that spot from Morgan Shepherd.
We saw there a moment ago that Kenny Schrader had moved into fifth place around Dale Earnhardt.
There's our hero, Harry Gant.
The hero of the over 40 or over 50 generation.
The over 50 gang, of which Ned and I are members.
Yep.
We saw a fan holding up a sign. There's plenty of pins around here this weekend. It says, "Life begins at 51." As I said earlier, next July, I can't wait.
Well, what are you going to do between now and then? That's what I want to know. Here's a battle for 9th and 10th position. Rick Wilson in car number 8 and Jimmy Hensley in 24.
Not far behind them is Mark Martin. Mark not having a good day. Asked him as in the driver introduction down there. I said, "Mark, how are you doing today?" He said, "I really don't feel very good about our chances here today." Even though he won the pole, his 4th of the year. He said, "We just couldn't get the car dialed in." He said, "Qualifying and racing was a different situation." He said, "We can make it go fast for a lap or two, but we just can't get her set up to run fast during the race." So he's been back in the pack struggling.
And that explains why the Unocal bonus money has not been won in a long time. It's up to $136,800, and that would be the amount that Mark Martin would collect here today, in addition to the purse money if he were to win. But it doesn't look good for him right now.
So next Sunday at North Wilkesboro, the pole winner has a chance to pick up $144,400.
Wow. Harry Gant, the 51-year-old from Taylorsville, is the leader of the Goodies 500 with 309 completed. Okay.
I started already. That's true. Man, sooner or later, he said, sooner or later we're going to lose. Man.
Oh, he does have Gant in the pool, doesn't he? Back at Martinsville, Virginia, and what a beautiful shot that is from our helicopter doing our transmission of the in-car camera signals. But the duck pond there, you can see to the right corner of your screen, one of the many landmarks here surrounding Martinsville, Virginia Speedway. What a beautiful place this is, and it's always nice to come back here twice a year to watch Winston Cup racing. Harry Gant is the leader of this race, going for 4 in a row. The best battle on the racetrack is for 9th. Rick Wilson in car number 8 and Jimmy Hensley in 24.
And that 6th car is the 11th place car, Mark Martin, right behind them.
A little contact there made between Hensley and Rick Wilson. But that's the kind of thing you see here at Martinsville quite often. Wilson really protecting that inside groove. Now Hensley gets a little bit of a run off of turn 2. He might get a fender alongside him going into turn 3. He does. He's going to take the position, or at least get up beside of him. And usually if you get on the inside of a fellow going into a turn here at Martinsville, you can make the pass.
And Rick Wilson comes down the racetrack trying to block Mark Martin from taking the spot away. Doesn't work. Mark goes by now. Kyle Petty's there. And some contact as those two come off the corner. And there's the 30 car. Michael Walker, he's some few laps down, so this is not the position.
Here's a replay. Watch Martin come off corner number 4.
Said Rick Wilson comes down the racetrack trying to block Mark Martin from getting on the inside. As I said, doesn't work. Mark gets a spot, and Kyle Petty follows.
Now Mark Martin going to the outside of Darrell Waltrip in car 17.
Darrell has fallen back a little bit here the last 10 laps or so.
DW's car just not right. Now I tell you what, Mark Martin cut across the corner, the front of Darrell Waltrip's racetrack, and a spin. The 8 car is spun. The 10 car up in turns 1 and 2. Rick Wilson, we saw.
No caution.
No yellow yet.
But Strickland was involved in it. There's Derek Cope trying to get back out on the racetrack. He's pulling out in front of cars, and the yellow is out now.
Yellow flies for the 11th time here this afternoon. A lot of cars were trying to get a lap back, beating Harry back to the line. The record number of cautions for this race was 17 back in 1980. This is number 11, and here's how it occurred. Well, the 8 car was sideways in the middle of the corner.
Going in the corner, when that happens, you always wonder if there wasn't contact going in the corner, but there's no way to tell because we certainly didn't see it.
And now Harry Gant will come down pit road for a stop, as will Rusty Wallace, Brett Bodine, Morgan Shepherd, and others. Jerry?
Once again, it's going to be a battle of the air guns here in the pit. Harry Gant's crew will put 4 tires on his car. Rusty Wallace in the bottom of your screen, the Skull crew with Harry Gant on the top. They now go to the left side of this car. Likewise, Rusty Wallace's crew putting left side tires on his Pontiac. Lug nuts are on, Gant is off the jack. Wallace still on the jack as Gant makes his way down pit road. We'll see if Rusty can beat him out, and Harry will be able to make it all the way back to turn 1 as work continues here on pit road with most of the cars getting 4 fresh tires.
And Brett Bodine that time won the race out of the pits and beat Rusty Wallace's crew.
Now we go inside Jeff Bodine's car and watch this incident that's created our most recent caution.
Yeah, there was some contact between the 10 and the 8, and then Jeff Bodine comes along and runs in the back of the 10 car, which sent him on his way.
Hey, it doesn't take much of a bump when you're going into the turns here, especially because the car's almost spinning out anyway when you go into the turn, and just at least a little bit of a bump. There it is. As Jeff Bodine hit the 10 car after the 10 had already made contact with Rick Wilson.
Some damage on that 12 car. He was also in the crash.
Yep, Hud Strickland has a lot of damage to the front end of that car as he has pitted here on the main straightaway. We'll be back in just a moment.
Why they're holding Marcus?
He didn't beat Harry back.
Okay.
Okay. All righty.
That 12 car is not going to be able to run with the front end beat up the way it is because there'll be no air at all going in the grill.
Kenny, I want you to take this and don't lose it on your life. Kenny Martin has to pick the winning Chevy sweepstakes copy. If he loses it, he's the one that gets fired. All righty. Just one of them in there. Yep. Yeah, that's right. And there's just one for the close. With 323 of 500 laps completed in the Goody's 500, it's Harry Gant leading Brett Bodine, Rusty Wallace, Morgan Shepherd, and Dale Earnhardt as we are just seconds away from going back to green. Our Speed World coverage of the Goody's 500 being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? The field in turn number 3 now. The lights on top of the pace car are out. We should be going back to green here in just a moment. Crowd rises to its feet once again as the green waves and the Goody's 500 is back under racing conditions.
Ricky Rudd still trying to get his lap back, but he's not going to do it this time as Harry Gant is taking off once again.
And Rusty Wallace tried to make it 3 deep coming off the second corner, trying to get by Brett Bodine. Could not do it as Brett Bodine comes up.
Brett Bodine and the crew had a great pit stop, allowing him to come back second on the racetrack and therefore lined up right behind Harry Gant on the restart. And that's where he is, Brett Bodine's second spot.
And that's where he qualified on the outside pole. Martin the pole should have just beat Brett by a few thousandths of a second. Looks pretty strong, doesn't it?
Yes, he does. He's putting some pressure on Harry Gant right now. Gant might not, if he continues to run that hard, Gant might let him go and say, okay, just go ahead and use your car up. But Brett He is fast right now.
What Harry needs is for Rusty and Brett to start racing for that second spot, and that'll give him some breathing room. Uh-oh, Brett gets under him.
Let's see if he can get him going in the turn. Thought Brett might take a shot at him there. He had a pretty good position, but Harry pulled away.
Tell you what, those engine people up at Precision Product Performance in Arden, North Carolina have been doing a super job on that 33 car. The car is making a lot of horsepower. Leo Jackson, the owner of the race car, also Precision Product Performance Center. And those guys will definitely make some horsepower.
And Andy Baker doing a good job of getting hooked up and getting it to the ground. And it's a crew chief on the car. Does the chassis setup.
Scott Robinette, Charlie Presley. Charlie's brother of Robert Presley, the Busch Trail National driver. He's a jack man, worked on the Harry Gant automobiles.
First three cars continue to run nose to tail on the racetrack. Then a little bit of separation back to Morgan Shepherd in fourth. And then still a little bit more before we get back to Dale Earnhardt, who's fifth.
NASCAR has to be absolutely loving it. We have an Oldsmobile, a Buick, a Pontiac, a Ford, and then a Chevrolet. The first 5 positions, 5 different makes.
Here's the field snapshot. Watch for your favorite driver, and as he crosses a line, you can see how far he is behind the leader. There's Davey Allison, who's back out. Bill Elliott. And here comes Harry in the group off of 4, completing that lap in 20.8 seconds.
That is most impressive because this Harry Gant only qualified about 2050, 2060, somewhere in that area, and is still running 2080. Normally, after this many laps on a racetrack, the pace would be slowed down at least 1 second.
At least a second, sometimes a second and a half. Because that's a tribute not only to the way his car's set up, but also to Goodyear and the tires that they have here, which I understand is a new tire, the radial tire that Goodyear has here, and it really is doing a great job, not losing as much speed as they normally do.
That lap was 91.03 miles an hour. Benny, you mentioned that we got 5 different manufacturers running in the top 5. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into this race. Chevrolet was on top with 10 wins, then Ford with 6. Harry Gant in 3rd position with the Oldsmobile. Pontiac and Buick are running 4th and 5th. So it is a heated manufacturers points battle again, with Ford trying to break the long Chevy domination.
How many Chevrolet won? 10 or 11 or
10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, you mean manufacturers titles? Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, can we talk enough about Harry Gant and what he is doing?
Well, he is indeed making a great show for athletes over the age of 50, and those athletes and other sports that have gone beyond what you normally think of as somebody who can be competitive at that age. It's unbelievable what this man is doing. Back in the pack, some good racing. That's Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, and Kyle Petty.
Now Sterling's a lap down, I believe, when he spun over there. I think he went a lap down. And Mark Martin and Kyle Petty and
Ernie
Irvin are all on the lead lap and battling for position. They're what, 9th, 10th?
8th, 9th, and 10th. Yeah. Here's Kyle Petty.
Now we've got a spin coming off the second corner. Caution does come out now.
Bobby Hamilton and Gary Koch were the ones involved in that spin. Everybody's going again, but the caution is out for the 12th time this afternoon.
We can see the damage on the back right rear quarter of the Hamilton Oldsmobile.
So Harry Gant sees the caution flag waving at him once again. At 340 laps this time, another spin at Martinsville. Back in a moment.
Well, that sun is tearing me up over here today.
Oh, it's terrible. We've got to do something before next year. Oh, the sun in this booth is incredible.
Really?
First it shines in right in your face, and now Ned is getting baked because it's shining in the right side of the booth.
I just keep jumping over here on top of you, Bob.
Well,
I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I'm getting blistered.
Any place you can go to get out of it.
I put some sunscreen on this morning, but I am absolutely getting blistered.
Yeah,
I see you are.
We need to get some shades in this place.
I'd rather have a drape over that thing there, but can't sit down because that shit really gets. I thought it would go on around, but it's not. It's not moving that good.
Well, if you can get in behind me, Ned,
suffer.
Feel free to do so. Around the world, around the year, with over 1 million miles of award-winning auto racing coverage. ESPN Speed World visits Martinsville, Virginia for the second and final time in 1991 for the Goody's 500. And Dale Jarrett has brought the Citgo Ford in for a pit stop as we are under caution here at Martinsville for the 12th time this afternoon because of a spin out of turn number 2 involving Derek Cope.
And Bob, we have talked about age and people in 50. Leonard Wood, who has been with the Wood Brothers team since it started, is 57 years old today, so wish him a happy birthday.
Absolutely. And let's go to Jerry Punch, who's in the Brett Bodine pit.
We're with Clyde Booth as the team manager here. Clyde, and what have you guys done? Suddenly Brett has come just caught fire.
Well, you know, we were real good the first few laps. Then we've had to go on new tires, and ever since then the car's been a little on the tight side. We're working on getting the thing loosened up, and he just said now that we're in real good shape. We'll just have to see what happens here towards the end.
So Brett Bodine fighting a push here for about 300 laps. They've finally gotten it fixed, and apparently the car running awfully well.
Brett will come down in second position on this racetrack, and they have decided to go at least one more lap before green. Now they're giving the one more lap signal.
And Bob, there are 13 cars on the lead lap now. We keep losing for up 200 laps. We had like 25 cars on the lead lap, and then spins, and Harry Gant's fast running has taken care of a whole lot of that.
As far as the points leaders are concerned, it is Dale Earnhardt running 5th and Ricky Rudd a lap down in 14th. Next week, as we mentioned earlier, we'll have more Winston Cup racing for you. This one will be live at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be at North Wilkesboro, North Carolina Speedway for the Tyson Holly Farms 400. Join us next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Here we go. Race about to resume. Green flag is out. Ricky Rudd is up there every time trying to get that lap back, but hasn't yet.
Harry Gant got a break that time because Brett Bodine had to pass Rudd on the outside. Gant was able to get down on the inside right away, and we can see a 2-car length advantage just for that one simple move down on the first.
Ricky Rudd in the 14th position. He's the first car on of those that are one lap down.
There goes Harry, Brett, Rusty. Morgan Shepherd is 4th, and Dale Earnhardt is 5th.
Less than 150 laps to go.
Advantage on the restart when these fellows were caught on the outside of Ricky Rudd, and they're not able to close it in. Well, Brett might have closed in a car length that time, and Rusty Wallace slipped going off the 4th corner, drove it in hard, got a little bit high, slipped, and you can see lost a couple of car lengths.
Doesn't take much here. Slip just a little bit, but you can lose a lot of time. But he drives her deep into turn 3 and picks up most of that loss.
maybe we should have driven that car today. We might have made some money.
Yeah. It'd been nice to get in there.
Here's Rick Mast, along with Hut Strickland, Kyle Petty, and Ernie Irvin.
I don't know how in the world that 12 car is going to get any air to the grill, because he's hit something and it's flattened the grill completely. We can see the nose of it just laid down flat. And I don't know how in the world any air is going in the grill.
Hut is not on the lead lap. He's 16th a lap down. But the
Kyle's trying to get by the Rick Mast car, and he has position. Let's see.
They lean on each other a little bit.
That's the battle. Whoa!
They got together, and look, Rusty Wallace goes by Brett Bodine for second spot.
Boy, all kinds of things happening there in a lap. So Rusty Wallace has moved to second. We go back to this battle now.
Here's Martin on the inside of Rick Mast now, going down in the corner. Let's see if these two guys get together. No, they made it that time.
Kyle Petty's moved to 7th.
Terry Labonte would be 8th. Martin 9th. And Rick Mast now shuffled back to 10th. He was up there in 2nd right before Kyle Petty went by him.
Kyle Petty's left leg must be hurting today, as many times he's had to reach in for that left foot and hit the brakes going in these corners.
What was the longest winning streak that you guys ever had? Can you remember, Ned?
One.
I'll get to you later.
I think I won 3 in a row.
Did you?
I think so.
Now,
that would have been, 100-mile races, probably on a dirt track or something like that. Not like winning 3 of these track races.
Labonte going for 8th here. He's got it. And Mark Martin looks for 9th as they try to shuffle Kyle Petty back to 10th. Good battle here among these 3 cars. That is the case. Martin to 9th and Kyle back to 10th. There in 11th is the 1 car of Rick Mast.
I won 3 in a row in ARCA a couple of times.
Yeah.
When I was back in '68. But in NASCAR, I don't think I ever won more than 1.
You know, this 4-race win streak or 3-race win streak that Harry is on is nothing compared to what he did in the early 70s when he went 14 sportsman races in a row.
14 in a row.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. I'd say it's pretty incredible.
Pretty darn impressive.
So he's been a good race driver for a long time.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, he was 38, 39 years old before he ever had his chance to run in a Winston Cup car, and that was for the Race Hill Farms fellow, wasn't it, that he started driving for?
Jack Beatty.
24 car of Hensley now on the back bumper of Kyle Petty. Kyle slipped back here a few positions in the last few laps. Now Hensley taking a look to the inside going into turn 3. A little bit of a bump. Tenth, 11th, and 12th here.
Hensley's car, he does have a good race car because he's trying his best to get by Kyle Petty. He's trying on the outside. Now let me see how this is going to work. Not too good.
Now Kenny Wallace will be driving this car next year, the 24 car.
The only problem is, fellas, that he's pitting on the backstretch, which is a disadvantage for him. He'll probably have to make 1 more pit stop at least. Depends on whether that would come under green or during caution, because he has been running good all day. Just has pitted back there and kept him back in the field. That's Jimmy Hensley we're talking about. Of course, right now we're watching Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace, 1st and 2nd.
Yep, Rusty closing in on Harry.
He has. He's closed in.
Cutting the advantage to about 3, 4, 5 car lengths.
Now they've moved away from Brett Bodine by about 20 car lengths.
So maybe Rusty was moving, just saving his car back there when I thought he had a problem. Maybe he was just saving his car, waiting for that last run, that last 100 laps.
Here's the Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. We timed 5 consecutive laps, laps 346 to 350, comparing Gant and Earnhardt.
And we can see that Gant is much, much faster than Earnhardt. 2080 was his best lap, and Earnhardt all of his laps above 21 seconds. As a matter of fact, up to 21.6. So he went from a 1.8 disadvantage or advantage to a 3.6 advantage on Dale Earnhardt just in 5 laps.
So he doubled the interval there in just 5 laps. That was off the restart, probably.
And Rusty has closed up the interval by about 50% of what we saw the last time, because right now he's on the back bumper again.
Rusty Wallace, as we indicated earlier, almost won this race in the spring. You ran here. Well, then, what happened, and have you solved the problem?
I was running second. Earnhardt was leading. Or I guess it was Kyle Petty was leading at that point. He pitted on the back straightaway because of a bad qualifying run. I come down pit road, was done with the pit stop, leaving out of the pits, and the rear end tore out of it. Earnhardt was still up in jack stands. I really thought I had the race won at that point, but no luck. So I just got to get a little more. Like I say, the performance is there. We just got to get some of this maintenance stuff figured out.
And that's why they have been able to save the car now for some 370 laps. I just spoke to Eddie Dickinson a minute ago with the Rusty Wallace crew, and they said, we have been saving our brakes. But when Harry Gant began to pull away, we got a problem. Car number 8 apparently has lost the wheel. Rick Wilson's car crashing, and will have the caution come back out. But Harry Gant was beginning to pull away a little bit. That's why Rusty passed Brett Brown. He wanted to keep Harry inside. They said, we got plenty of brakes left and plenty of race car. We think we can run with Harry Gant here these last 100 or so laps. As the tire now rolls down the backstretch, we're under caution once again.
Yeah, the tire did come off Rick Wilson's car.
You know, this car broke a right front wheel last week. Now, I don't know exactly what happened to this car, but it looks like he broke a right front wheel. And that's exactly what happened to the car last week at Dover when he popped the wall.
There's the tire that has hit the wall at the end of the backstretch, the inside wall.
It's hard to say. It looks like the center might be out of that tire, Bob. And if that's the case, he broke another.
Just what happened last week, yeah. Pit stops, meanwhile, here on the main straightaway. Gant comes in. So does Rusty.
Yeah, you see there that the center is out of the tire.
Yep. All right, let's go to Jerry once again.
Well, all the cars on pit road, and Rusty Wallace getting service in the Miller Genuine Draft crew. They have worked its right side tires, now changed the left side tires. Meanwhile, Harry Gant's crew in the Skull Bend also changing left side tires. He is down and away. Gant coming down pit road. Wallace off the jack. But Harry Gant is able to beat Rusty Wallace down pit road. Tremendous work by the Harry Gant Skull crew once again to be able to get him out first.
Yeah, this time, however, Rusty came out ahead of Brett Bodine, unlike last time. Where is the pace car? Oh, the pace car is here along the front straightaway.
Now let me show you why Harry Gant is beating Rusty Wallace, because he is keeping Rusty behind him. And he pulls directly into his pit, so Rusty's not able to come down at 35 miles an hour. He has to slow down to about 15 miles an hour, has to follow Harry Gant. And you see, that's just enough advantage that Harry is beating him out every time. If Rusty was pitting back there, he would probably beat Harry out every time.
Boy, Gant can get in, and they can have a lot of work done before Rusty even gets to his pit area.
Yep.
All right, we'll take another break here with 371 laps completed in the Goody's 500. Back after these messages. Yep.
Left the right front tire loose.
Uh-oh. That's too bad.
Tire wrench broke or something. Why is that 8 car breaking wheel, right front wheel?
Somebody's not checking or something. On this racetrack, you shouldn't.
Okay.
Ooh. 1 and the 28 almost crashed going in turn 1. North Wilkesboro.
Oh, okay.
Well, I hate to say it. Oh, I just, you know, made the comment in our meetings that it's going to have some problems, and they did. 26. Yeah, right.
ESPN Speed World today at Martinsville, Virginia Speedway in the Goody's 500. And we are about to go back to green flag racing tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Great ball game coming up. Almost must-win situation for the Toronto Blue Jays as they go against the Oakland A's. Sunday Night Baseball at 8 o'clock tonight here on ESPN. Field coming down for a restart on lap 376.
Rusty takes a look. Rusty looks. And they touch.
Oh, Gank gets hit hard in the front end by
So does Rusty. He spins. Now Ricky Rudd beats Earnhardt back to the line.
And Rudd finally gets his lap back that he's been trying to do almost all.
Fellas, there's a lot of cars. Morgan Shepherd has problems. I think that might have been smoke from Dale Earnhardt's car with Henry Rudd rubbing together. But Morgan Shepherd got banged into something up there. And Hud Strickland got banged again. Of course, we saw Derek Cope involved, so a lot of cars involved here.
Here it is as Rusty moved to the inside of Harry Gant.
Just some slight contact. And here goes Derek Cope on the inside as Earnhardt runs in the back of Rusty. Now, Derek Cope hits Rusty. Here the 5 car is going on the inside. Now, here they come back to the line. Rudd trying to beat Earnhardt back to get that lap back, and they will make contact just as they get to the line. Watch that.
Yeah, there was some smoke, that tire smoke, as they rubbed together. There's Hud Strickland's car, third in line. He has some more damage to the Ray Bestis Buick. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch.
Well, the crew has a lot of work to do as you see the front of what's left of the front of Harry Gant's Skull Oldsmobile. They're trying to peel some of the sheet metal away to get a look at the chassis parts, and if it's mostly cosmetic, that's not a problem, because as you saw before, Harry has won here at Martinsville with a pretty torn up race car. They pull the sheet metal away, they'll send him back out to keep him losing a lap. He'll come back in here momentarily for him to use the air chisel to pull some more away and get a look at that right front.
Well, you know, we showed you a replay of his win back in 1982, and the car was all banged up, and it's looking about the same way right now.
Looks like that right front tire is going south and the car is going north. I mean, pretty heavy damage to that car. So Harry Gant will not win his 4th in a row, I'm sad to say.
Let's take a look at it once again. Rusty goes to the inside of the end of the backstretch.
Going into turn 3 and gets the nose up alongside of Gant. Gant starts to make his normal turn into the turn, and they touch, and around Gant goes to the outside, and then everybody starts banging into each other back behind them.
And there we can see the car coming out of the pits, and there's a piece of aluminum.
Yep, runs over his own debris. Well, they're trying to keep him on the lead lap and have been successful in doing so. So far, both he and Rusty remain on the lead lap.
And Morgan Shepherd also mentioned that he had damage on the Motorcraft Ford, and he has been in. They've been making repairs on it. He too has stayed in the lead lap.
So it isn't over yet, but certainly the chances of Harry Gant winning are reduced significantly because of that incident with Rusty Wallace over in turn number 3. Boy, there's more than one person in this grandstand that isn't a Rusty Wallace fan right now.
Oops. Rusty's got his tire over the line.
See, he's got his tire over the line. Rusty Wallace, Neil. The inspector's down there telling him.
Rusty
had his tire over the line, his front tire over the line.
No penalty, though.
Well,
backed up.
The inspector's down there. Like they pedal.
We remain under caution here at Martinsville, and while these cautions are underway, Rusty Wallace and Harry Gant come in each time to get some more work done on their car, but both have been able to get out ahead of the pace car and therefore remain on the lead lap. The question is, how has the incident affected the handling on the 33 car? Jerry?
Let's check in with Andy Petrie. Andy, how bad is the car hurt, Andy?
I can't really tell. We'll find out in a minute and see how it runs. Well, I don't even know what happened over there.
So they talked to Harry Gant, and they have pulled a lot of the sheet metal away and pulled some of the bars away in front of the car, but they don't know. Even the driver, Harry, doesn't know till the green flag comes out, which is just about 15 seconds from now, guys.
Okay, Ernie Irvan has taken the lead in this race. And with Ricky Rudd now back in the lead lap, Bob, there are 13 cars on the lead lap once again.
Here's the green flag. We're back underway. Mark Martin is second, followed by Terry Labonte, Kyle Petty, and Jimmy Hensley.
And once again, Mark Martin turned right across the front of Darrell Waltrip's car, and with no contact was made.
Slipped a little bit coming out of turn 2, lost some ground to Ernie Irvan, the leader in the race. Terry Labonte closes in on Martin, and now Labonte slips.
Labonte, Kyle Petty, 21 car. Dale Jarrett, he and 22 Sterling Marlin almost made some contact. This is inside the Citgo Ford.
Dale's a lap down. Could be in about the 15th position right now.
Now, look at Wallace and Gant all trying to work up through some slower traffic.
Morgan Shepherd there in car number 15. He was one of those that was involved. Had some damage to the Motorcraft Ford. Looks like he's running pretty good. And so is Gant. Looks like he's doing okay now. Don't know if it's as good as it was, but
what we've seen today so far, you would think that Brett Bodine would be looking pretty good right now, but we don't know how much of these guys have been saving their cars. Jimmy Hensley, the 6 car, Mark Martin, Ernie Irvan. Maybe they've been riding around waiting for this moment to show what they have.
And we're at lap 387 now, and those that have been using those brakes heavy, this is when it'll begin to show up. Those that have been saving them, this is when they can really make some time.
And don't count out Mark Martin winning the Unocal bonus money here this afternoon of $136,800. Only 2 cars out of the race, Lake Speed and Joe Ruttman.
That's amazing. With all the banging we've had going on here today. Absolutely amazing. Of course, there are a number of cars that have been behind the wall for quite a while, but they've gotten back in. But it makes traffic heavy out there when you have that many cars running this late.
Now, Rusty is on the outside of Harry. He's got Harry hung up behind the Bobby Hamilton car.
But Wallace didn't go in any place either with Ricky Rudd up ahead.
Harry's going to try to get on the inside of Rudd and makes it. I think he made it.
Yeah, but Rudd's going to go on the outside of Hamilton. And Rusty's going to try to follow Rudd.
Nobody's going any place right now. Now, Harry is going to be able to pass Ricky Rudd.
Yeah, he'll get on the inside of Hamilton, and that gives him the line he wanted.
Passes Hamilton with ease.
Rusty dives in that spot, takes his position away from Ricky Rudd.
Second place battle is a good one. Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, and Kyle Petty. Those 3 cars going for second position. The leader of the race is Ernie Irvan.
The 6 car, he could pick up $136,800. You know, we crossed him off. Said it's going to be next week. It's going to be $144,200 or $400, I should say. And guess what? He can still pick up this bonus, $136,800 with that 6 car, and pass the 4 car and stay there. Of course, wish I was on the radio to Mark right now. I tell him, make sure he realized that he could win $136,800.
Oh, he probably knows.
I would imagine. Yeah.
Just a little over 100 laps to go now. 106 to go. Here's another full field summary for you. This is the way they're running right now.
Jimmy Hensley right up there in the top 5.
And you can see that Harry Gant has not yet moved into the top 10, but he's close. He's 11. Rusty's 12th.
Rudd, the last car on the lead lap there. Darrell Waltrip 1 lap down. Dale Jarrett's a lap down. So are these cars at least 1 down that we're watching 16th through 20th.
Still watching this battle for second place. Mark Martin holding off Labonte and Petty.
He might be holding those cars up a little bit. Bob, Bernie Irvin is pulled away by about 10 car lengths out there. But although Labonte hasn't really put a great deal of pressure on Martin, he runs in on him a little bit in the turns, but Mark holding the right groove.
It's amazing just how these drivers can save these cars and how their crews can adjust. Remember the first of the race, we saw Kyle Petty, how poor he was. And here he is on the scoreboard in 4th spot.
Yeah, he was the first car to be lapped, as a matter of fact. Got off to a terrible start.
What a great story if Jimmy Hensley could pull this thing off. Jimmy just lived a few miles from the racetrack, and Barrett Dawson, the crew, decided they would give him a shot here in Martinsville, and he's making the most of it. Currently running 5th.
And Jerry Punch has a report.
You know, if brakes are a factor in this race, Jimmy Hensley might be the sleeper. Barry Dawson told me he has never had a driver, and he's had a bunch of good ones, that is easy on equipment that Jimmy Hensley is. Yesterday, they ran 25 consecutive laps, and in Martinsville, normally after that, you couldn't even get near the brakes. In fact, Hensley's brakes were not even warm. You could lay your hand on the brake motor. And that's one of the reasons Jimmy Hensley has 7 career wins here in late model stock car, NASCAR modified, and Busch Grand National. For more, let's go to John Kernan.
Yeah, Jerry, but those 7 wins, 200 laps or less. I was talking with Jimmy this morning, a little concerned the fact he hadn't run 500 laps here at Martinsville in about 3 years. But you got to believe with him up on the scoreboard in the top 5 right now that if he's a little bit tired with 400 laps on the board, he's going to put that behind him and run the final 99 just flat out as he can.
Of course, the Team 3, Dale Jarrett almost hit the wall.
Yeah, he and Dale Earnhardt run together a little bit. Just a slight tap, and Jarrett got up in the loose stuff there for a moment.
Team 3 needs sponsorship for next year in their effort with Kenny Wallace, and this may help them out. It's interesting as you watch Jimmy Hensley, and right behind him is Dale Earnhardt. Remember what happened when we came here 2 years ago and Hurricane Hugo was bearing down on this area? Well, it meant that Dale Earnhardt couldn't get to the racetrack, and Jimmy Hensley took Dale's car and put it on the pole. So you can see how much experience that Jimmy has on this racetrack and how very good he is. Ernie Irvan leads the Goodies 500 with 96 laps to go. We'll be right back. Where's Harry? 10th. Yep. What?
So that's a buck.
I've run up quite a tab over the years, haven't I? And I will too, because I'll be broke.
Harry had a good race car today, didn't he?
Yep.
He might even come back and win this thing.
I'm not sure he's out of it.
Yeah, I think I might have rode him off a little too soon.
He's half a lap down now and closing. He's about to go into ninth. The Kodak Film Chevy, driven by Ernie Irvin, is leading this race. Here is the battle for ninth position. Harry Gant to the inside of Ken Schrader. Harry goes to ninth position. Don't count him out.
I do believe I might have wrote this fellow off just a little bit too soon. Jerry Punch, what do you think?
You got to remember, Benny, the line is life begins at 51. Harry Gant, of course, doesn't give up very easily. The crew just told me a minute ago that he is within a few hundredths of a second of what he was running a little bit ago before the accident. Obviously, the sheet metal has hurt him, and some of the bent front end is hurting, but he is coming in a hurry. He may run out of laps, but he's not going to quit.
He sure is, and as a matter of fact, when he passed Schrader there, he moved into 8th position. Behind Schrader is Davey Allison and others, but they are not on the lead lap. There's Harry with the damage on the front of the race car. Suffered in the incident with Rusty Wallace and others a few laps ago. There's the leader, meanwhile. Second position belongs to Mark Martin in the Folgers Ford. There's the interval. Back to third. That blue car on the right of your screen is Terry Labonte.
Sunoco Oldsmobile, this would be a great day if Labonte could pull it off, because they've been struggling this year. They need a good run.
Their best finish of the year has been a 5th, so this would be their best if they can stay right there.
And there goes, as we watch Martin come off the corner, and Labonte. Here again had the folks on their feet as he passed Kyle Petty down the corner for a spot.
I think Mark Martin and Terry Labonte are beginning to gain a little bit now on Ernie Irvin.
Here's the fellow I thought had a great opportunity when Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace had their problems, Brett Bodine. His problem is that he's had all this problem trying to, and Hut Strickland is fun coming off the 4th corner, but so far no caution flag, and the car is rolling. Let's see, Brett Bodine is a bunch of guys. Oh, he's going again, so no caution will be out.
That could have served as an advantage to Harry if he'd have gotten a caution flag here and been able to maybe get some new tires on that car and do some more work and punch back up, but nope.
I don't think it's tires that need so much right now. It's distance, because he's about straightaway, a little over a straightaway behind Ernie Irvin, and I don't think he can make it up on the racetrack. He needs a caution flag to close the field up. Brett Bodine, he's about a straightaway behind. He needs a caution flag to close it up, because it's going to take a lot of race cars to close it up on the racetrack.
I don't know. He's doing a pretty good job of it. Look at him go inside of Dale Earnhardt.
And the fans love it.
Oh, do they? Harry's coming, no doubt about it. That puts him in 6th position. Gant is 6th.
Meanwhile, as we watch Harry Gant and Earnhardt going to corner, Ricky Rudd is about a straightaway behind Dale Earnhardt. There comes Rudd. We see him in the middle of the corner. Now it's about a half straightaway.
Remember now, Ricky is back on the lead lap. Earnhardt is in 7th and Rudd is in 10th.
So not too much difference in the point spread there. There's 4 points per position in that area, so it'd be 12 points that Earnhardt would gain on it if they finish where they are right now. Both of them have led, got the 5 bonus points.
And neither one of them is going to win the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps.
All right. Harry Gant get that honor, I would imagine.
I would think he would.
There's Dale. 36-point advantage on Rudd as they came into the Goody's 500. And there's the interval between Dale and the leader, Ernie Irvin, as he laps Ted Musgrave at number 55 again. And now Derek Cope, 2nd and 3rd. Labonte right on the back bumper of Martin.
Right now we see Ernie caught on the outside of Cope. That's costing some time.
Rick Wilson, who brought out a caution flag earlier in the race, is back in the event.
It's Ted Musgrave, the Jasper's engine car on the inside as Martin and Labonte goes by, and here the green car, Brett Bodine, is there.
Labonte,
in 4th place, he is calling.
Labonte is seeing green in his rearview mirror. That is Brett Bodine sneaking up quickly.
Yeah, he's the fastest car on the racetrack. I believe he's faster than Gant right now.
And I tell you what, Ned, he has time. Brett Bodine has gained so much ground. He has time to catch him.
There's Gant. He comes up on Jimmy Hensley, looking for another position. Gant trying to move into 5th. We'll take a look at a big auto parts on-track interval as we compare the leader of the race, Ernie Irvan, and Harry Gant. We'll see if Harry can get this spot. Yep, he does. He's 5th now. Now here is the lap times comparing Irvan and Gant. And Gant is faster.
He is faster. We can see he's gained almost 1 second in 5 laps. Irvan running some good speeds, but not quite as fast as Harry Gant.
Martin, real battle here. He really got loose coming off of turn 2, almost came to a dead stop as Harry Labonte was trying to move around him. Martin closed the groove on him, but there's Brett Bodine right on them. He's just looking for a place to go.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th are tied together with a string.
And Martin's car is off the path. I mean, he's not up to speed as far as even Ernie Irvan is concerned, because Irvan now is pulled away to about a straightaway on this race for 2nd place.
Yeah, see, I think Martin's holding that crowd up there.
But after all, he is running 2nd. And if something was happening to Ernie Irvan, Martin would be the winner.
Don't go away, friends. This thing is far from over as Harry Gant is coming up through, and so is Brett Bodine. The leader of the race is Ernie Irvan. Can he hang on and win another Winston Cup race? We'll be right back.
Mark's got a flat tire. No wonder he's been slowing down. The right rear tire's flat. Don't he know the tire's flat?
I believe he just locked the brakes going in there at that time, but it might. Let's see.
Maybe you're right. I thought he had a flat tire.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right, Ned. I'll tell you what, if Harry Gant win this race, it would be a magic moment, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Man, oh man. Okay. All right.
Jenkins, Ned Cherry, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Martinsville. The 98 car of Jimmy Spencer, slow on the racetrack, headed for the pits in the backstretch.
Mark on the right, coming down the front straightaway is what I believe happened to the car.
Mark Martin has fallen off the pace. Here is the battle now for 3rd position. Harry Gant right behind Terry Labonte. The leader is Ernie Irvan. 2nd place is Brett Bodine. Let's see if Ernie can take 3rd.
You mean Harry?
Harry.
Yep, he's got him. Yep. He has got him. This is unbelievable. I crossed Harry Gant off. I said he's not going to win 4 in a row. I don't know. He just might still do it.
Yeah, he has time. He definitely has time. I think he now is gaining on Ernie Irvan, and I know Brett Bodine is gaining on Ernie Irvan.
This is unbelievable.
And there are 65 laps to go, so yeah, he does have the time.
Yeah, he's only 2.5 seconds behind Irvan, and Brett Bodine is only about 3 car lengths behind Irvan.
And I mean, the fans I mean, they are absolutely on their feet watching every inch that Harry Gant goes around the racetrack, as I am. This is exciting.
And cars speed up pretty bad in the front end, but aerodynamics are not. Harry Gant is marching toward the front.
Richard Petty directly in front of Harry Gant. He's several laps down. He hit the wall down in turn 1 earlier. Knocked the oil cooler off the car. They had to replace that.
Richard easily going down the backstretch.
Richard moves over and doesn't hold Harry up one bit.
Richard has a press conference scheduled for October 1st. A lot of speculation as to what might be announced at that news conference. Winston Cup scene speculates that 92 will be Richard's last. Now Brett Bodine is within 3-4 car lengths of Irvin.
Yeah, he is definitely moving in on it.
And Harry Gant is moving in on both of them.
Now, we mentioned a few minutes ago that Mark Martin was slipping back. Jerry, what caused that?
Well, they're sort of speculating here since I'm with Steve Mills. Steve, Marcus slipped back a little bit. What's the problem with the car?
He says his tires have greased up. You know, we probably run a little bit too hard too early. We haven't been great all day. He's missed a bunch of wrecks. Had some good pit stops. I don't know that we're running right now any worse than we've ever been. We've just been close to the front for a while. But if we get a caution, we'll be better. He hadn't liked this set of tires a whole lot, but we haven't been great all day.
Brett Bodine is going to try Ernie Irvin on the outside for the lead. Bodine will get the lead going down the backstretch. Let's see what happens in turn 3.
Look at Harry Gant. Look at this.
Bodine has the lead. Let's see if Harry can get second.
Yeah, he's going to move up on the outside. Irvin just gives him the running room up there they need. His tires have gone away. I think he realizes that they're faster, so he says, I'll just have to let him go. I can't race with him right.
What a story we are seeing develop here this afternoon in Martinsville.
To these poor people paid $50, $40 for a seat. Sit down, people. Man, oh man.
Harry Gant is second after a crash in turn number 3 that severely damaged the front end of the race car.
Right now, he's about a half a lap ahead of Rusty Wallace, who he had that crash with. So, obviously, they got his car worked out much better than Rusty got his worked out.
Well, if you are just joining us here shortly before the 4 o'clock hour, those of you that have been watching other sports, other football games, I tell you what, we have got a story here this afternoon in Martinsville. This is first and second. Brett Bodine is the leader. Harry Gant is second. Harry led many, many laps, was involved in a crash in turn number 3 as Rusty Wallace went to the inside of him. The cars made contact. Both Rusty and Harry were badly damaged as far as their cars were concerned. The crew managed to keep Harry on the lead lap, and you can see what he has done. He has come from the rear of the field up to challenge now for the lead.
If Brett Bodine wins this race, the fans will boo him to death.
And undeservedly, because he's driven a fine race.
He has driven a super race. I mean, we're yelling about Harry Gant, but Brett Bodine has driven a super race today.
And you know, one of the things that Brett attributes to his success, at least here this weekend, is the fact that Bob Riley has been helping this team, and Bob has been instrumental in helping many forms of auto racing, for that matter. He's been active in Trans Am and in Indy cars, for that matter, but is helping Brett Bodine on that Quaker State Buick.
Harry caught Brett, and now I don't know if that time he just got hung behind Rick Mass. We'll have to wait a lap and see if he closes back in on the back bumper.
And here's Ricky Rudd and Morgan Shepherd as they battle for position.
Yeah, they've changed that position several times. But right now, Rudd keeping the inside. I want to keep off the pace a little bit because he had passed Morgan not too long ago. Now he lets Morgan go by on the outside.
Morgan moves into 8th and Rudd back to 9th.
Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt is currently 7th, so just...
And looky here, Harry Gant is on the inside.
It went ease. He just shoots by that Quaker State Buick and goes into the lead. Harry Gant is in front again, friends.
So here comes Brett back. He's trying on the inside. Yes.
Oh, Harry is sideways again. He's going to lose the front position, but only one spot. Boy, Harry's getting knocked around out there, and
Still fights back.
You reckon that hurt his tires? That's a little bit of a slip down there?
Yeah, it certainly didn't help him any. It might have heated him up just a little bit. He might have to ride easy for a lap or two till he gets, well, I don't know. He's not going to ride easy. He's going to go right back on in there at him.
Not Harry.
The 28 car, Davey Allison, hit the front stretch retaining wall earlier on and had some heavy damage to his car, so he spent several laps in the pits, but we can see that he still is a very good race car here this afternoon. He's caught the front two of Brett Bodine and Harry Gant.
Kyle Petty's going a lap down again.
Man, oh man, I could not believe this. I figured Harry Gant would be lucky to get back to the top 5. Gets the car a little bit out of the shape.
Yeah, he is really working in there.
Yeah, he might have heated those tires up a little bit in that slide and just taken away a little bit of that grip off the turn.
Now they approach some slower traffic. They pass Michael Waltrip. Michael running in 26th position. Well, the battle settled down for a moment. Let's take a quick break and be back with more from a packed Martinsville Speedway in Virginia and the Goody's 500. Time today that anyone he sure did. Wouldn't you know it?
Man, the car's still getting fired up the turns down the inside. It's just...
Yep, folks, it happened. Harry Gant passed Brett Bodine while we were in break, and Harry now begins to move away from Bodine, and Harry Gant is in the lead, and he's still working as hard as he's worked all afternoon, sawing that wheel in there. But he has the lead. Now watch the replay as to how he got it. Now watch Harry saw the wheel coming off the floor.
He's turning that thing, gets it a little bit sideways, and he never backs up, and he comes down and out brakes Bodine. Watch this. He shoots down in the corner. Oh man, oh man.
That's how Harry Gant got the lead. Jerry punches in the Brett Bodine pits. What are they saying down there, Jerry?
Guys, we all know Harry Gant has a massive following. The fans have been on their feet watching this unbelievable comeback. In fact, even one of the Quaker State crew members from Brett Bodine said, you know, if it weren't for the fact that we needed to win one so bad, I'd like to see Harry win it too. He said, but we are definitely chasing a legend.
So even the second place team is, in a sense, rooting for Harry Gant, and he's moving away now, guys.
He is clearly by far the fastest car on the racetrack. I mean, this is not the easiest racetrack in the world to pass. I mean, it's a flat racetrack, about 12 degrees. We showed you that at the beginning. It's hard to pass. You can see how easy it is to pass on the inside. You have that preferred groove. But Harry Gant started last.
Yep.
And passed all the cars to go to the front and is driving away.
Now here is what happened earlier in the race to Harry Gant. For those of you, again, just joining us. Harry was leading. Rusty went for the lead in turn 3.
They collide. Harry backs up. He crashes, backs up into the fence, and we see Morgan Shepherd come along and run in the front of Harry Gant's car. But Harry was able to get the car going again. A lot of pit stops later, we can see all the damage of the car. Back, he started on the lead lap at the end of the line and took the lead.
Now here's the battle for third place. Ernie Irvin at number 4 and Terry Labonte in 94 as they battle for third. Well, the famous Danny Sullivan spin and win in Indianapolis is something that we'll always remember, but this thing outdoes it as Harry crashed and may win.
Here comes Labonte. He's on the inside. Let's see if he can outbreak Irvin going in the corner.
He's going to make the pass. Yep, Dave Marcus, if he don't get in the way when they go into the next turn. That's turn 3 they're heading into there now. Urban goes on the outside of Dave Marcus. Marcus will get out of the way and let both of them go.
Now Marcus needs to back off so they don't go 3 abreast. Well, Urban backed off.
Labonte goes to 3rd. Urban back to 4th.
What do you think, Ned? Did we have got the job done at 33 today?
Well, you know, the way that thing looked in the first 350 laps, you'd like to feel, yeah, we can still do that. But then after the crash, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have won from where he started, but I don't think I can start it at the rear and went to the front like Harry Gant.
Boy, it's been exciting.
You're not getting any ideas, are you, Benny? You still got that driver's uniform on.
It's barely zipping up, though, Bob, I'll tell you that. I did have too many tomato sandwiches along the way.
That was a great line that Harry had there when you talked to him. Yeah, if you can get the seatbelt around you.
Boy, that car still cuts so well in the turn, and then when he mashes the accelerator, it gets traction and just hits right on off the turn.
Harry Gant's crew, led by Andy Petrie, watches their driver, Harry Gant, complete another lap. That's 4:66. So we've got 34 more laps to go. And Harry Gant could be on his way to winning his 4th consecutive Winston Cup race. Don't go away now.
Hey, Neil, I'm your expert that said that, folks, he's not going with his 4th today. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yep. There.
Oh. I tell you what. You know, if he does this thing, boy, that piece tomorrow will be timely.
Oh, you bet. You better believe it. Okay, Benny's going to go do a piece for his station and for Speed Week tomorrow at Harry's.
Yeah. You want me to change?
The Goody's 500 with 469 laps completed. There is the man of the day, Harry Gant. He is the leader of this race. I am sitting here in disbelief. Ned and Benny are. Everybody in our production truck are just absolutely amazed and awed at what this man has done this afternoon. Coming back from a crash that appeared to eliminate his chances of winning. He has come through the entire field. He has taken the lead. He is pulling away from 2nd place, Brent Bodine. Harry Gant on his way to his 4th consecutive Winston Cup win.
I am suitably impressed by the job that Harry Gant has done today. This is exciting.
Riding with Jeff Bodine in the Budweiser Ford. Jeff currently is shown in 22nd position.
That's Harry Gant left down. Harry Gant 2 cars up in front of Jeff Bodine. Now Harry's got some heavy traffic right in front of him. We see all these cars. Now this has got to be a concern, although there's no one pressuring him. Still, these guys in front could slip.
Yep.
The brakes go away, have a flat tire. Several things could happen that could knock Harry Gant out of the race. So anytime you're in this kind of traffic, it has to be a concern.
Oh, right there, Chad Little almost started on the outside of Bill Elliott when Harry was out there too, but fortunately he saw him in time and backed off.
Here's a field summary for you again. Watch for your favorite driver and see where he is in the standings right now. Now, historically, if we were to put everything into perspective, historically, we'll probably have another caution period in this race, which is going to bunch the field again and create some more interest. But if we don't, it appears as if, and if his car can hold together, it appears as if Gant will pull off his 4th straight win.
And they can go the rest of the way, Bob, on fuel. They should not have to make another pit stop. Darrell Waltrip just did make a pit stop, though, which maybe was unscheduled, but he came in for a change of right side tires on the Western Auto Chevrolet.
There we saw Richard Petty 30th. He has been back. Oh! You're talking, Bob, you said something about a caution flag? There it is. It's Morgan Shepherd back across the racetrack.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. The caution is out. And
we have debris on the racetrack also.
One of those wrenches that you adjust the chassis laying there on the turn. Somebody has lost one.
How about that? So the field is slowed for the 15th time today. Harry Gant's pit crew is ready for his final stop of the afternoon.
Once again, always a concern here because we saw John Kernan talk about a lug nut jamming in the socket. That can happen anytime. There's 20 nuts, 20 lug nuts going to be changed this time. At any time, that nut could jam inside that socket.
Here's a replay of the spin.
We've seen these two cars battling. Ricky Rudd on the inside, Morgan Shepherd on the outside. They touch going into the turn, and it spins Morgan Shepherd around, and pit stops coming up.
That was a battle for position. Jerry Punch is right there with Harry Gant.
And the Skull crew, the critical pit stop for them. They will have to beat the Quaker State crew here if they can. Love Gusts are already up the left side for the Gant car. 26 on the bottom of your screen. He comes to a stop in the crew now. Clyde Booth and the rest of the Bernstein crew going to work on that machine. Now they're all the way down toward turn one. Harry Gant's crew has already changed the right side tires. He's putting the left side tires on. Now left side of the 26 Gant is off the jack, and he is headed down pit road. The jack is going up on the left side of the Brett Bodine car, so Gant will once again beat him back to turn one. Great pit work, guys.
Brett Bodine will come out second. Ernie Irvin fourth, and Dale Earnhardt third. We'll take another break. We've got less than 25 laps to go at Martinsville. We done closing billboards yet? Guess we haven't, have we?
Yeah,
is that right?
It'll do it. It'll just kill you.
Okay. Sandy Jones is the Western Auto mechanic of the race. He's pitting the 26 car. So the guy just, Roderick came by and wanted us to do it at the gas pumps.
Sandy Jones.
Okay, all right. I would imagine, yeah.
Back at Martinsville, Virginia, where the Goody's 500 is still under caution, now with only 19 more laps to go, and the one more lap signal is being given. They'll line up this way: Harry Gant, Brett Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, and Terry Labonte.
Only cars on the lead lap may now go on that outside line. All the other cars got to go on the inside. So Harry Gant will take the lead. Brett Bodine will be on his back bumper. Then Earnhardt, like you said, Ernie Irvin, Labonte, Trader, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, and the list goes on.
Here's the crowd on its feet, waving, cheering. Harry Gant, green flag, out once again.
Dale Earnhardt accelerated, ran in the back of Brett Bodine about to start finish line, but backed off with no damage to either car.
Ooh, there's some tight racing there. Sterling Marlin is sideways in 22.
Yeah, he almost lost it. Could have caused a lot of damage there, but he kept it down on the inside and got it squared away.
Boy, you know, if I were Brett Bodine, I'm not sure that I would try to make. Ooh, here's Earnhardt trying to make a move on Brett. I'm not sure I'd mess around with Harry Gant. The fans are going to come out of the stands. He stopped the race and beat up for divots.
Exactly. I wouldn't want to be the guy that shot Santa Claus, I'll tell you that. And that's about what it'd be like.
We mentioned this earlier, but the last driver to win 4 consecutive Winston Cup races was Dale Earnhardt in 1987 at Darlington, North Wilkesboro, Bristol, and Martinsville. Look at this traffic jam. Behind Terry Labonte, it's Schrader, Martin, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd.
Rudd's on the inside trying to take that spot away. That's 4 points if he can just get by.
It'll be 5 points when you're in the top 6. Then after that, from 6th through 12th, is 4 points.
16, make that 14 laps to go. Oh, Rudd.
He's on the inside, but not able. Rusty Wallace got back by him.
Sterling Marlin really getting pushed around out there because he was a lap down and up there battling with those guys, and they're battling for position.
Yeah, Earnhardt was the big benefactor from this caution flag, because I don't know exactly where he was running going in, was about 5th or 6th probably, and he now is up in 3rd spot.
And the guy that lost the most was Jimmy Hensley, because he's pitted on the backstretch, went from 5th to 10th.
Yeah, that was a tough break for him, and there's not a thing in the world he could do with that. He couldn't come into the pits until after all the guys pitting on the front stretch had already entered the pits, so they're going to have their work done by the time he's entered the pits over there.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th as Harry Gant continues to lead. If Harry hangs on, it'll be his 16th win in Winston Cup competition.
Mark Martin and
Terry Labonte.
Car number 94, Terry Labonte, got together. They almost spun out, but both of them got their cars slowed down and righted and go at it again. There's Rusty Wallace and Ricky Rudd behind them. They're battling for position. So it's Jimmy Hensley trying to get on the inside of Rudd.
Hensley almost. Rudd came down the racetrack trying to block that spot. Hensley was there, I thought.
9 laps to go for Harry Gant.
Well, Harry's got on cruise control now.
This is the battle for 5th. Make that 6th.
Mark Martin pulling up on the outside of Terry Labonte for the 5th place. You can see it just as it went out of the screen.
There it is.
Here it is.
That's 5th position they're battling for. Martin has a nose out in front going into turn 1. He'll try to get down on the inside of the racetrack, and does. It's Gant, Brett Ledine, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin in the front 4, and then Mark Martin.
Davey Allison spun over between 1 and 2, but did a 360, got the car back going again. No caution flag.
Did some agricultural racing, cut some grass over there in 2. Next time by, it'll be 6 laps to go for Harry Gant. 494 completed. Dale Earnhardt runs in 3rd position right now. As you can see, in the spring of 1987, he was the last driver to win 4 in a row, as Harry Gant is doing here today.
And the way that Harry Gant did it today was one of the most exciting things, stock car races I've seen in a long time. It's not exciting to see him 15 car lengths in front of that 26 car, but I'm telling you, starting last and going through the field, I started to say like Grant took Richmond, but that's not a very good one. Amazing.
You got to really take your hat off to this guy, because we have seen other older athletes do well in other sports, but he is just amazing. Ken Schrader seems to be holding up Rusty Wallace and Rudd and Hensley, but Rusty cannot find the opportunity. He's going to try to the outside now in turn 1.
Drives up, but he can't get back on the gas like he needs to as they come off that 2nd corner.
And Schrader has plenty of power down the straightaway. Here's Ricky Rudd trying to go on the inside of Rusty as he's out there on the outside of Schrader. What are they battling for, 7th position?
Rusty won't give it up. Ooh, they collide going into turn 1.
And there's Jimmy Hensley right in there. He's just looking for a place to go. He might be the fastest of all of them, but they just won't give him any running room.
Now Rusty has 7th. Rudd has 8th. Schrader holding on to 9th, but Hensley wanting it. And next time around, Harry will get the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Boy, the crowd is just waiting to explode. They're already shaking their fists and waving. Here's Gant with the white flags. One more lap to go for 51-year-old Harry Gant and his 4th consecutive Winston Cup win. We have seen history made here this afternoon, and what Harry has done. He puts the car into turn number 3. He now sees the checkered flag from Doyle Ford. Here it is. Gant wins the Goodies 500. Here's Jerry Punch.
We're waiting for Harry Gant, and they're celebrating in the grass. And let's check in the Gant pit where they're also celebrating where John Kernan's standing. John?
I tell you, Jerry, they picked up Andy Petrie, the crew chief, and just spun him around. Looked like an airplane right there. Well deserved. You guys just a heck of a comeback after that wreck with him.
Man, I don't know what to say. I'm just speechless right now. I tell you, I can't say enough about the job Harry did out there today. And the guys, the crew, what a job they did getting that car back. Man, I'm speechless. What about that, Harry Gant?
That's about all you can say, guys. Life truly does begin at 51. High fives all the way around down here in the pits.
4th consecutive win, 16th Winston Cup career win. And Harry Gant has won 5 races in 1991. Well, you're going to hear quite a bit of applause when this young man gets out of his car here in just a moment, because the fans are going to go crazy. Here's Jerry Punch in victory lane.
And a big smile from Harry Gant, Handsome Harry, they call him. Indeed, it fits. And Harry, after a nice cold drink, congratulations on a tremendous, unbelievable run.
Yeah, thank you. The car was just super all day. We could run longer on the tires, it seemed like, than anybody else. And unfortunate there, Rusty got a little over anxious car. I was just tooling around there, and I thought he was too. And I didn't think he was going to try to run by me, like that. So then Brett, we got together. But the old car came in there, passed them all back.
Did you think you could come back and win it after having the accident and all the damage on the front of the car? You had to start dead last.
Well, I really didn't know to start with till I got to 5th. When I got to 5th, I knew I could have done, because all I had to do is keep in mind not to wear the tires out. Just take my time, When I started backing off, I started catching them real easy then. And, we had perfect tires. We were set to go all the way there at the end. We didn't need the last caution.
Harry, 4 in a row and 5 to go. Can you do it?
I don't know. We just keep trying to finish and do the best we can do, and the crew done a super job getting us out of the pits today. And the car just worked super. We hadn't changed a thing since we got here, and this same car, same engine. So maybe we can do it again at Wilkesboro next week.
And you'll see it right here on ESPN as 51-year-old Harry Gant climbs out of the car, and the fans are surrounding him here, watching what we believe to be one of the unbelievable finishes here at Martinsville Speedway history. Bob?
All right, Jerry. 1982 was the year when Harry Gant drove this car to his first Winston Cup victory. Look at the damage on the right front of the race car right here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Harry Gant driving the Skoll Buick to its first Winston Cup win. Now, this was today. The car looked fine until lap 377 when Rusty Wallace went to the inside of Harry in turn number 3. The cars came together. Harry spun around. Watch on the high side of the racetrack. The 15 of Morgan Shepherd runs into the front of the 33 car. There was a lot of damage to the front end, but he kept him on the lead lap, and Harry Gant won here this afternoon in absolutely unbelievable fashion. We'll be back with more of our post-race comments from Martinsville Speedway as Gant has beat Bodine, Earnhardt, Irvin, and Martin. Okay.
Jason, there ain't a drink in there. Man.
Oh, jeez.
Man, oh, man.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Unbelievable is right.
Kenny, would you clean up while I go? Thank you. I appreciate it.
There's your points, Jack. Is it 59? Yes.
An unbelievable afternoon of racing has come to a conclusion here at Martinsville, and Harry Gant has won his 4th consecutive Winston Cup race and 6th consecutive Winston Cup and Busch Grand National event. Our Speed World coverage of the Goodies 500 has been brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. And driving the Quaker State motor oil special to a tremendous finish, second here today, Brett Bodine.
Brett, a tremendous run. You qualified second. Kind of shocked some people on Friday, and today you come back to finish second behind Harry.
Well, it was a good run for this race team. I can't say enough about the guys that are with the Quaker State Buick race team right now. You know, we've gone through some turmoil. We've had some people leave. But these guys have stuck through all the bad stuff. I'm just glad they're here to get a second-place finish. This is the first time I've ever finished second. I'm real pleased. We just used everything up. We run out of car there at the end to be competitive. The exhaust system broke, and I just was out of brakes. I just used everything I could to get back up through the field after that little pit error, and we had to go to the tail end of the lead lap. But it was a good run, good week for us, really was. Like you said, on Friday we surprised a lot of people, nearly got our second pole. I'm looking forward to Wilkesboro. I'll tell you, coming out of a run like this at Martinsville, it'll pump us up for Wilkesboro.
I tell you what, dude. Would it have been smarter even if you could have beaten Harry just to let him go? I mean, the fans here were all cheering for him. You know, would they have let you out of this place if you'd have beaten him?
Well, I think so. I'll tell you, Martinsville is considered my home track. This is where I first ran my first Southern race in modifieds way back when, and it's so nice to come down here because we have a lot of fans, and it's great to get a second here at Martinsville.
I guess you can't wait to get to your 51st birthday, huh?
I'll tell you what, if it means winning races like Harry, I'll say I'm 51 right now.
51-year-old Brett Bodine, he's just had a whole slew of birthdays today.
Good run for Brett Bodine in the Quaker State Buick, bringing that car home in second position to Harry Gant. The Unical money next week goes to $144,400. We'll be right back.
Mike, I don't have him anymore.
What do y'all think about that?
I cannot see it.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
23.
The Goodies 500 is over here at Martinsville. We're going to show you a complete field rundown. There's the top 5. Harry Gant beating Brett Bodine, Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, and Mark Martin. And guys, that was fun.
That was unbelievable today. I crossed Harry off. I said he's not going to win 4 in a row, and he comes back and does it.
Well, it was a tremendous effort, no doubt about that. Morgan Shepherd winding up in 11th place, and CDW Darrell Waltrip down there in 15th. He didn't do as well as I think he expected or we expected here today.
Dale Jarrett finishing in 18th position. Ted Musgrave finished 20th. That'll help Bobby Hamilton 17th. So Hamilton will actually gain advantage on the tight Winston Cup rookie points battle that's going on. Alan Kulwicki finished in 22nd position. There you can see Richard Petty. He had a scary situation during the course of the event as a little bit of fire was seen under that car, but he winds up in 30th position, and then Joe Ruttman 31st and 32nd. Now the top 5 in the point standings. Dale Earnhardt gains an advantage here this afternoon. His advantage now on Ricky Rudd is 59. as Rudd is second. Ernie Irvin 182 points behind. Then Davey Allison and Mark Martin. By the way, Harry Gant has moved from 10th to 6th in the points since Bristol. Tonight at 8 o'clock, the Toronto Blue Jays and the Oakland A's in a great Sunday night baseball game. That's at 8 o'clock tonight. The Tyson Holly Farms 400 from North Wilkesboro is coming up next Sunday. Ned, Benny and I and John and Jerry will be here with all the live action for you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Can Harry Gant continue the win streak and win his 5th Winston Cup race in a row? Well, we'll see you next Sunday at 1 o'clock. Our congratulations to Harry Gant on his fine performance here this afternoon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget Speed Week Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern Time. For Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch, this is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.
So, Jenkins.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? What kind of stand-up you want?
Oh, geez, Benny, I don't have any idea. What are you doing it for your station?
Yeah, I'm got an ESPN shirt. I thought I'd do a stand-up.
Just whatever you do for them, just duplicate us.
Just duplicate it, okay.
You need JIPs?
We need to make a note in the Martinsville file. Black cart. Because we don't need that space up there for a thing in the world.
That's right. That's brutal, isn't it?
I got cooked.
Yep.
Really got cooked.
What we should have done, Dad, what we should have done, I didn't even think about it. Now I think about it, we should have traded places. Let me get cooked for, no, I didn't even think about it.
Oh, that's okay. I thought thing would go around, and it would go away, but it's kept getting worse instead of better.
Man, what a deal. What a deal. Hey, Bobby. Bobby having the pool out there. I was sweating it.
Yeah, I guess.
Here we go. Quiet in the booth, please. You're watching highlights from the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Due to time constraints, we move ahead in our coverage. We move ahead in our coverage now of the 24th Winston Cup race of the 1991 season, the Goody's 500 from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. You're watching highlights from the Goody's 500, the 24th Winston Cup race of the 1991 season from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Let's move ahead now in our coverage. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in our coverage of the Goody's 500 Winston Cup race from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Okay. Is that all you need?